unknown alone is extremely brave.
Men out, hold fire.
Or extremely foolish.
We're gonna psy out this shit.
Brothers in arms, or will it be a case of each man for himself?
Down, get down! They're up on the ridge! Return
Alright, I know you guys probably missed it because I went late, or I went live like 5 minutes late, but the host lady already said she was here for this game, so I just wanted you guys to know that,
They will be as a compass,
just in case you were worried.
guiding you through the unknown.
Host lady is here for the Namco presentation.
What nightmare have these luckless souls fallen into?
You keep lookout.
I know what this is.
Look out. Look out for what?
One by one, their lights will be snuffed out. Unless you can find the means to save them.
Oh, this is a sequel to Men of Medan, isn't it?
Swallow.
One of those like really bad story games, huh?
Will you find the path to salvation? Or be lost in the darkness? Forever.
I mean, if they're still knocking these games out, they must sell at least decently well. I kind of always figured they did not. And then just like streamers bought them, and people watched these games. I didn't know anyone actually bought them.
We're here at Supermassive to talk about the next game in the Dark Pictures anthology, House of Ashes.
She's cute. Is she in the game?
Dan, how you doing?
Hello.
Thank you for joining us. Right, so let's start at the very start. We're going to be talking about House of Ashes for most of the interview, but for those that don't know, tell us about the Dark Pictures anthology.
The Dark Pictures is a series of narrative, story-driven, branching horror stories. Each one is standalone. They each tell a different story, completely separated from the others, but within the same universe, so there is connection between them all. House of Ashes is set at the end of the Iraq War in 2003, with links 4,000 years ago that set the story up.
So tell us more about the theme and themes, I suppose, within House of Ashes.
It starts off with a military unit.
What's up,
They've got
guys?
some new technology
Who's all
that can
here?
Look for weapons of mass
Good
destruction.
Hunter,
on the
Lucy,
ground.
Matt.
They think they've identified something
12
in the
hours.
South Mountains in Iraq. And then
You
as part
hear
of
me?
that, they
Did
come
you
across
unsurvive? I don't know
Iraqi
what that is,
unit
but welcome to the
that
stream,
pitched
buddy.
Firefight, and then the
Hey,
two
guy.
groups are plunged underground. There's an earthquake
Cook,
of some
Fox.
sort, and it's revealed that there's a hidden temple underground. You know, these big, massive structures, but these different groups, they're all separated. Radio contact is lost, and they're submerged in this black darkness.
Where on God's green earth have we landed?
And then they're
Well, it
gonna
doesn't
start
look very
hearing
green, huh?
sounds, and people
More like
start
brown and
disappearing.
gray Earth.
What the f just happened?
So this time it's a very
Also,
real
why did
threat.
God's green Earth
All
even
of
become a
the
thing?
Dark
Because
Pictures
technically the
games,
Earth is
they
more
all
blue,
pull
am I right?
something from real life or from
Hey, what's up, Epsane?
What's the case with the myth or historical part of House of Ashes?
So we love looking at.
Well, the
looking at
Nintendo's-
legends,
the
myths,
full,
and legends and so on, doing our research. And we
percentage
know
of
fans love it.
Nintendo's
There's
presentation
something
was
that I can link
boring.
into after.
But
And I
their
think that
direct,
I'll play
like the
games
first,
and
like,
games myself.
them announcing
This
stuff was
one's
cool.
set
But then when they went to
4,000
describe the stuff they
years ago.
announced, it was a pretty big snooze
Terrible
fest.
evil that happened. We had this self-proclaimed god king, Naram Sin, and he essentially cursed his people. He sacked this temple and brought famine and devastation to his own people.
Oh, good
So a
guy.
lot of the history is lost, but we've done a lot of research about it, and then we had a lot of happy accidents that linked into the story we wanted to tell. And the fun thing for us is we get to do our own take on it. We get to twist it, and obviously we've made our own treatment
Wow.
from it.
At the end of the sneak peek, the trailer, we saw monsters. Tell us a bit more about what's going on.
She's like, at the beginning, there was interesting stuff going on. Can you...
They're not human. They're bigger.
Can you just talk about the interesting parts? Thanks.
One or two of them, or hundreds or thousands of them, and that's kind of the threat with this. You know, they've got guns. Maybe they could try and take one of them down, but maybe there's another one around the corner, or maybe there's a group of them, and maybe they're going to get ambushed.
Maybe they're like a cluster.
Exactly,
And they
yeah,
all pop
a
out at
nest,
once.
as it were.
Yeah.
And it's been
Wow.
really fun to work on and see these things move around and how horrific they can be. They're different to us. They
But don't
perceive the
you...
world
You don't
in a
actually
different
shoot
way.
at anything in this
Little
game. It's
snippets of
just
it
a
in
story,
something
right?
else,
You
and
don't
what did I
actually
see?
play the
Was it
game.
something that
Hey, what's
made
up, Kyler?
or is it actually just one of the other soldiers that's stuck in the catacomb?
Who's there?
We like to try and misdirect people on things, you know, that did you see something, did you not? And that's a great thing within horror, that you think you're going to be scared.
But for real, though, who is this girl? Because I am here for her. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, always.
So should we expect a huge amount of peril in the game?
Definitely. We love
No.
it. You know, it's
There
fun
will be a
to
happy
watch.
ending.
As horrific as it is, and we know that our fans love it as well. So yeah, there's at least 60 unique deaths, and there's a whole ton of variation on that as well. So Merwin and some of the others, you're going to see different things happening to them depending on how you play it out. You know, getting ripped and shredded and torn, and because there's a
Jesus.
firefight, there's going to be bullets flying as well, and all kinds of stuff. And it's not just the.
There's going to be some deaths where
you know, lots of blood.
people accidentally like shoot their teammates. I'm guessing, right? Like when he just got nabbed by the ghoulie over there and starts spinning around up in the air while firing, there's probably an ending where he like shoots half the team.
Mechanics for House of Ashes.
We're always evolving the Dark Pictures. We listen to a lot of the feedback from our fans.
Is
and also
Dark
our team,
Pictures
what
the
they want to do,
name
how they want to push things forward? So we
of
tried some stuff in
the
in
company,
Europe,
or is that the name of their like
more
universe?
cameras, 360
Like the
cameras,
Marvel
it's the
Cinematic
same
Universe?
part. So
Is
we
it the
really
Dark
learned from
Pictures
that, and it
universe
really
for
works
these
well.
games?
In House of Ashes, lots of the game is set underground.
Love to have one of the chairs they're
Corridors,
sitting on.
it's really tight and
Same.
Creepy.
Yeah, indeed.
I'm gonna buy one of
So
these
we've had to
chairs
learn
instead of
because
this
you take away the fixed
racing
cameras,
game chair.
and
I'm
that
gonna
takes
just
away
start
some
streaming on one of those.
opportunities for horror, but we've had to learn new tricks to scare people and ramp up the tension and the chance for jump scares, which we know some people love. We've also got a new torch mechanic, so it's military themed. So these guys are going to be walking around with weapons, with torches mounted on them. We love the lighting that we do, this sort of really inky black darkness that we have, and sort of the contrast to the bright areas. And so you're going to need to lean on that torch to allow you to see where you're going, what the threat is, and that kind of stuff. We've also
Oh my
things
God,
like,
there was a bad
added
guy.
difficulty settings to this game. So in Little Hope we added QTE warning icons as an example, and we've got some really good positive feedback about that, but also some people want to turn that off. We want to allow you to play the game in your way. So with our accessibility settings and difficulty settings, if you want to have a more casual experience...
These guys made it until dawn, yeah.
Still, most of your characters are going to end up dead, but, that's what
Spoilers,
happens,
yeah,
indeed.
but that's what we come here for. That's
Yeah.
okay, we can deal with it. So I've got to ask, what was it like working with Ashley?
So Ashley was fantastic.
Who is
researched
Ashley?
Rachel. She
Isdale?
understood her when she came on the set. It's so refreshing. She knew her inside out. And Rachel is a flawed character, so she brought that through so fantastically. The rest of the cast were fantastic as well.
When we were looking for Joey, Salim helped me.
You didn't tell me this because...
You'd flip your shit.
We want you to connect to these characters and understand them as humans. We want them to seem real because they're real to us. We spend a long time designing them, and I don't mind if you hate any one individual character because you don't like everyone in real life. But maybe you'll like them when you see the journey they go on.
Maybe you'll like them once they're dead and you feel bad about it.
and you feel bad about it, definitely.
Yeah.
But also we want you to save them. We want you to try and save them. We know that some people want to get everyone killed straight away, and that's fine. That's their play.
Well, what about... No, I would want... If I go through these games, I want to keep everyone alive. What?
As many as you can.
Can you not do that in these games?
Indeed,
Goes on
yeah.
forever. I like
Yeah.
that. So, last question. Favorite scene?
Favorite scene.
Are these games, like, tied together at all?
Iraqi
Like,
soldier
is
and
these
Jason
Dark
Welch
Picture
are
games, they all
enormous.
don't really seem
Yeah.
connected.
There's a way that can play out and a sort of contest between them, and you can make it go in a number of different ways.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
It's really emotional. Seeing them film it, I was lucky enough to be there, and then seeing that come through in game, I think we've got something there. I think that's gold. And then, of course, I love scaring people, so I love the jump scares. I love the moments of tension that we bring. We can't hold you in that moment, so we've got some fantastic jokes in there as well to allow you to relax for a moment before we scare you again.
To take your mind off
Yeah.
the imminent threat. I like that. Dan, thank you so much. This has been really cool to talk about, and I'm sure, I'm excited and terrified in equal part, and everyone else is just excited, I'm sure of it.
And it's been a real pleasure to speak to you, and I can't wait to get it into people's hands.
It's going to happen.
October 22nd. So many games coming out in October. Wow, that's a cool figure. Well, I just read that it was only 10 centimeters tall. Never mind. I was like, oh, that's cool. Collector's edition with a cool figure, but then it's like it's literally like that big.
Before we dive in the House of Ashes, see how scared you got. Of course, we want to thank Razer for being one of the E3 2021 sponsors. Of course, giving us these
Just give me big ass figurines for the collector's edition of games, man. That's all I want. The Halo collector's editions back in the day did that, man. The scale replica Master Chief helmet,
I'll be little brother.
the foot tall Halo Reach Noble Team statue.
Golden Boy, you just saw the Dark Pictures anthology.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Your first glimpse
10
of
centimeter
some
tall
reaction
figure. Come on
from
now.
you is
Oh,
what
you
they,
do?
They were recording you. They said you were
What's
a
up,
little
gamer?
scared, not terrified.
Not terrified, thankfully, because you know it was just a normal trailer, which
Here
is
we go.
fine.
See,
And now, there's my face.
You're
and
unsettled for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, you don't like that. You don't
Yeah,
like
don't like that.
No.
God, I would
Not a
hate
fan
if they
of
had
that
a
one
camera
either.
on me during half these presentations. Well, I mean, there is a
Yeah, I think
camera
that
on
was
me
one of
for
the
half these
jump scares in the
presentations.
trailer. I
But
was
like, if I'm supposed to sell some of this stuff,
Yeah.
half of these
I am
presentations
not
they'd see me just
crazy
going.
about horror. I was actually talking to the crew at the back, and I said, it really takes a very twisted mind to come up with these things. But it is impressive, though.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
you heard there in the interview, Dan saying like, "Oh yeah, I
Do
love
they
the
need
jump
these
scares.
Razer
I love
laptops
the
for
jump
anything, or are they
scares."
just part of the set
Different
dressing because Razer's sponsoring the show?
Make sure, because of course this is a choose your own adventure. If you've never
Yeah.
played a Dark Picture anthology, right? You are moving characters in a third person. You jump around. It's like you're watching a movie. You make choices. Those choices leads to different permutations, different setups, different settings, which leads to different deaths or no deaths if you're really, really good. But that's the idea, right? Is that you're playing in your own horror movie is developing, and then gives you the reason to replay it.
Yeah. Also, a pleasant surprise for me was that
What's up,
Ashley
Diz?
Tisdale, isn't it? I didn't know that going into it, which I was like, wow, this is definitely an upgrade from High School Musical. Like this is definitely.
Is it?
an upgrade.
I bet you she makes less money for
Different
this game than she
genre.
did in High School
But
Musical.
Yeah, and I think also because we had the VO panel yesterday, which was great.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show, right? Like the impact that video games are having. Hollywood stars coming in, lending their voice, lending their face.
There's a couple different things in this show, Matt. It's not just the Namco. So we got Namco, then Eureka Studio,
If you've never played
Eureka,
before, performance capture is a huge deal for Supermassive. They go through
the
they use
Play for All
this to
showcase,
want you
and
to
then
feel
the
like you're
awards
watching a
show.
movie. So we will see.
So there's a lot of
Supermassive
stuff going on.
Dark Pictures anthology pans out this time around with House of Ashes. But for now, let's toss it over to the one, the only, Jackie Jane.
Brothers in arms, or each man for himself. Survival depends on choice. Will you find the path to save everyone, or be lost in the darkness? I'm sorry, I'm just a little excited about this title. Dan, I saw you taking lots of notes. You were taking notes about the mechanics, actually.
Wait, is that all Namco had to show?
I mean, I am here for this. So.
Well, I'm a big old history
She's
nerd,
here
so
for
I'm
it. Let's go. I'm just glad she's here for it. She said it
We
again.
talk a lot of ancient lore about
Thank
the
God.
Empire. You have Naram Sin, this god.
Nice, gamer.
declared himself
I
the
unlocked it
god
too.
King of the Akkadian Empire and desecrated this temple, and now it's coming back to haunt us in modern day. It's also interesting to use the Iraq War as a setting. It is definitely a fraught time period and event during which to set a game, but also I think a rich sort of backdrop for horror in this setting because you're tapping into sort of Mesopotamian mythology. Zuzu, this
There's only like 2 people voting on this poll.
all of these soldiers, and I'm really excited to see what they can do. I told you I was taking notes. I did some research. I'm excited. I'm excited. I can't wait to experience all 60 death animations.
I know the 60 unique deaths. Okay.
I bet you there's a trophy for getting all 60 deaths.
Killing me. Avi, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking that if I'm ever trapped in like a dark cave, I'm probably gonna stick next to
With
Dan
Dan?
because
Yeah.
he understands what we should be doing. King of what now? You're looking up all this history on Pazuzu?
He's the king of wind demons. No big deal.
Come on, everybody knows that. I don't even know what.
E3 chat excited for this?
What was it?
Oh, he's Pazuzu.
Oh no, E3 chat's
Oh,
just
my
voting
goodness,
right now.
okay.
You may remember him from The Exorcist as well.
Yes. Okay.
I'm
so
gonna
Avi,
say
you were obviously a big fan
hashtag,
of like, I
2
could watch.
killing monsters.
Exactly.
That's big.
I was like, okay. But Avi, we've been talking about Resident Evil Village like at length. We both like horror survival, but also like when someone's playing with us. And I thought that it's great that it's co-op, so we can be scared together while we play.
Oh, it's co-op? I feel like that would ruin all the sense of suspense because I would just be making fun of it with whoever friend I was playing it with.
Cool, I can't hold a controller and,
I'm
try
here
to
for it.
guide these teenagers to safety. I'm going to step on a branch and individually kill them all. But Dan was going into like the history of all of it, and I'm going as like, oh, 2003. That's a little too close. And I didn't pass all my history classes, but I hope that Pazuzu doesn't pop up anywhere in a textbook. But something.
But
that
with
was
those
really
glasses,
interesting
I
to
would
me
have
when
thought
we
she
were
had
going
passed
through
every
trailers
history
for
class
the
she took in
DevCon
school.
is that they showed us Pazuzu. They showed us the monster.
The chairs might be uncomfortable, Kyler, but it's about the aesthetic. That's what matters. Look at how cool they are. They look like Tetris pieces.
Show people the scary right away. So I'm wondering if maybe there's like a hidden layer of something else that they're not showing us yet that's going to catch people off guard, thinking that they're going in going like, I did my research, I know everything.
I know how to deal with a Pazuzu. This is easy.
I know. So you two would fall into the depths together, and then I would somehow be stuck with Michael, and he'd be like talking about JRPGs, and I'd be like, oh my goodness, we're in a world of hurt right now.
If I make a deal with the devil, I can turn into a very attractive protagonist, and then I could probably possess Pazuzu if I do negotiations like you can in SMT5. No, anyway, like, one thing I want to say about this one is the free cam controls. That's different for Supermassive, so I'm going to wonder how that works, because I feel like they're very in control of camera.
Also, now that we know Supermassive is the,
I'm sure there's, like, transition
has she said I'm here for it? Yeah, she said it twice.
It's just,
but she is not here for the RPGs, or JRPGs.
Bunch of other people try to get.
But she has said I'm here for it twice.
I know you're all about retro games.
She said it just before I went live, and when this like table just started talking.
Dialogue that we saw, and it really hit me to my core.
Yeah, and they showed the actors doing the motion capture. I love horror movies. I love horror games. I'm a kind of a gore hound. I love blood and guts, and I love kill gags. So like, I'm looking forward to see all the inventive and clever.
I feel like everything's a lot less scary when you have an assault rifle with grenade launcher attached to it.
Yes. Anyways, Goms, I can't talk. Games have changed and evolved.
Goms changed, and I am here for it.
So has the coverage of our favorite games. Outlets like PC Gamer, IGN, Polygon, and GameSpot have all led the way in gaming coverage. And for the first time ever, we've assembled the editors-in-chief of all those organizations and our Voices of E3 series. Take a look.
Goms. I play Goms. Goms spot.
Hello, welcome back to E3 2021. My name is Chris String. I run GamesIndustry.biz, which is one of the world's biggest.
Is that it? Is that really?
And joining me today.
All Namco had to show was that game.
Some of the biggest names in the video games media, from IGN, GameSpot, Polygon, and PC Gamer. But rather than me do the introductions, I'd like to pass over to the panel. Hello, everybody. Who are you? What do you do? How did you get here?
Sure. I'm Christopher Thomas Plant. That's my full birth name. It sounds like Christmas Plant if you say it really fast. I'm the editor-in-chief of Polygon.com.
This guy is so awkward. He can't even get his full name out. That's my.
Hi everybody.
That's my.
Editor
That's my birth name.
I don't have a cool Christmas Twitter name, but I do have a really cool Halloween Twitter name that someone gave to me, which is Tina Amenitydville. So that's all I got.
Hi, how you doing? My name is Randolph Ramsey. I'm the editorial director from GameSpot. I go by Randy in this country because while it's okay to be called Randy in America, if you say that anywhere else in the world, you will be met with sniggers. You can't say, hi, I'm Randy to anyone else out there.
Yeah, it's definitely true for us in the UK. So Arsenal.
They're not just game reviewers, Absane. They're super game reviewers. They're the editor-in-chief of game reviewer sites. Which means every review that gets published in games media goes by these people for approval and authentication.
And as a fan, I've been in this industry for so long that, you know, it's E3 to me is usually just a lot of late nights, you know, being overworked, not having enough sleep.
Yeah, tell me how hard it is to go to E3 and talk about video games.
I think E3 for me.
That's huge.
You know,
tell me, please.
It allows me.
Your life is so hard.
Just a regular old fan of video games. You know, I still get hyped about stuff that, you know, gets revealed. Yeah, and it, you know, for those brief shining moments of those, you know, major press conferences or, you know, during, you know, like a key announcement, you know, I can sort of forget that there's all this work that I need to do around this big event and just like be a fan of video games again.
Yeah, having that in-person reaction, like you're typically sitting, if you're at a press conference, which I think probably for many of us, we maybe stopped attending them in like a physical capacity and maybe had like, we're in a war room of sorts with our team. But in general, just being able to sit next to your team and everyone's like reacting and then quickly scrambling to their keyboards again because they need to be typing up the news. That's obviously the primary element of it. But for me personally too, it's a bit of a reunion because we'll all see each other in person. But it is that opportunity to have that one space, that 1 week. We all agree we're going to take that time and be in one space together and be able to connect.
Yeah, I think E3 is the center of gravity too, right? I mean, in an environment, we saw what happened last year what happens when there's not an E3, right? Everyone kind of goes it alone. And there's definitely some pros to that, but I think from a coverage perspective,
I'm guessing
we
this is
gotta,
like a
you
Red
guys
Wings
probably all share the
owl
same
in the
attitude. We like to
background.
have as much time as
Blurring out.
possible to, do an interview, cover something, and not be rushed off to the next thing back to back to back. But there is kind of an efficiency for us, I think, and the viewer, the consumer, and having everything neatly collected under one roof for 3 or 4 days. The intensity and kind of spectacle that comes as a result of that, I think, can be genuinely fun and exciting. So, I mean, at least in North America, it looks like E3 will continue to be that center of gravity for the foreseeable future.
For better or worse, you get reminded very blatantly that like this is a human enterprise. There are some real people who are putting in some like long hours trying to make for the best possible event for all of us.
What does that mean? What? This is a human enterprise? That's like the most nothing statement I've ever heard.
So what do you hope to see?
Yes, people are making games.
Sort of 2022 or beyond.
They're not
that?
made by
What
machines
are your
yet,
hopes
unless you
for
count the procedurally generated games
E3?
as
What would you like to see?
machine
It
made.
has to become more social, and I think that is a thing that E3 was like leaning towards. I think it's like important to remember like what function E3 served back in the day. In the 90s, video games were for children or dorks, and mainstream publications covered it once a year, and all video game companies need to put all their money into one basket.
Oh my god, but
Great
games are
what
for
kind of
cool people now.
Now it's the opposite. I mean, sure, newspapers are still catching up, but otherwise, video games are the center of culture for young people. I think The Guardian wrote about that.
I've never seen a collection of so many people using so many words to say so little. That's journalism in a nutshell, baby. How can I stretch this at one term or like one line announcement out into an entire
seems to be more celebratory.
into an entire write up? Jesus, I really can't believe that this is all Namco had to show. Who is Eureka's studio?
Is, like you said, Chris, more inclusive. That it is this thing that is bringing people in, that is the center of gravity, that is serving a larger communal purpose.
They make Neon Abyss. Oh, I've heard of Streets of Rage before.
The drawbacks of everything, of all of us being in a pandemic that's going to be running about 2 years long.
This must be the game they're going to announce in the conference in a little bit.
By the end of this. I think it is significant that when we are being in this digital format now, I think it's nice that more people can connect. Obviously, it loses some of that social element. So I too, like Chris, hope that is retained, and I selfishly hope that we all go back in person. But I think
these must be the two games that they're going to be talking about in a second here.
Connect to a broader community. And there can be various aspects of that. Obviously, the press conferences are something that are typically digitally available to begin with. But are there some of those panels that have been introduced, or some other versions of connectivity or versions of celebrations that is something that people can experience in person or at home too, to feel like they're a part of that entire celebration of the festivities, of the news breaking, and they can get a sense of that same excitement that they may be feeling home alone because for whatever reason they're not able to attend.
I'm kind of hopeful that the live.
I mean, I was
in the future, in which it's much more a celebration of games.
I was hoping for literally anything from Bandai Namco. I mean, my expectations weren't like stacked, but I was expecting more than the
moving towards this
fucking
where, half of it is still
Man of Medan sequel, and that's it.
And then they're trying to introduce more people into it, and they can play some games and look at some big booths. But I think Comic-Con does that thing where it does service the fan aspect of it really well by having that focus on the show.
These people are speaking like they're at a shareholders meeting. That's because that's all these people know how that's the only way they know how to talk. They're so incredibly out of touch.
That sort of hype vehicle and talking about
Man of Medan stream win.
I would hope that they push that sort of line.
As interesting as that would be.
When you're there.
How far do you think they should go in that direction? Like, would you like to see them take a full-on Gamescom approach where there are, potentially tens of thousands of people, having a full public day, dedicated to, that's really servicing the public more than.
Is it even on Steam?
Business side.
Yeah, I think a traveling E3 show that goes around all year and visits multiple cities.
Some people will hate you for that one.
Luckily, I'm not in the USA. But yeah, and you know, I realize.
Hey, what's up, Flower? Yeah, the Namco stuff has been a little
as well, but
disappointing.
I think what you know what E3 could be.
I don't even
is,
play
still
Tekken, and I would
have that
take a
spotlight on
Tekken
the
DLC
biggest,
character
the
announcement at
biggest
this
thing,
point over
you know,
whatever the hell it is they're talking about.
As I said, get hyped, get excited about their their favorite hobby.
Yeah, just to build off that really quick, I think the thing that developers are going to have to ask themselves now, and we've really hit this turning point culturally, is can we let go of the secrecy, right? Because Comic-Con works because they put talent in front of people. But when you put talent in front of people, suddenly they have leverage. And that means that, you know, they're worth more money. I mean, just
They're gonna cut away from this and go back to Namco? I sure fucking hope so.
That goes for designers, and I think there is a version of E3 and all conferences that makes a lot of sense.
Reviews are mixed for this game.
For every game, they cost a ton of money. They take up a ton of hours. There can be a distraction. But if these people become celebrities,
Just announce Kiryu for Tekken.
That can take their place.
That would be fun.
These Comic-Con environments, and I would love to see that. I think it would be healthy for the industry as a whole for people to actually be again in front of their games, not just behind them.
Evan, actually, I love her.
Why do they blur out the most random stuff?
But as a business journalist, I actually find I love E3. I love all the excitement of it. I love the buzz of it. But as a business journalist, it's a nightmare. You know, it's like it's busy and noisy, and I want to talk about sales figures, right? And it's there's almost.
I'm really glad we have the panel of people who talk about how tough it is being at E3.
And there's the part of me that wants to.
It's like, it's weird. It's because it's like you should know your audience, because everyone that's watching E3 would like kill to be at E3, right? Like almost everyone watching E3 would be like, wow, I'd really like to be there and at the event and be around all this game stuff. And
side by side. I don't know how
they're like, oh, and then these guys are like complaining to that audience of people that are like, oh, E3 is so cool. These guys are like,
I mean, at the same time, they're sort of.
It's tough. It's it's hard to be here.
Transition's always tough.
You guys might not know it because you're not at E3, but I am, and man, am I. Ooh, my life is tough.
The kind of competition
It's hard to be here.
With PAX, right? It's just essential that these events have a true purpose that is contemporary and you know, really self-aware of what.
I mean, I get it. No one wants to say their job is easy.
When you go to PAX, right? You see,
but like, come on,
families. I see lots of, you know, thinking back to the PAXs I've gone, it's like mothers and daughters and you know, fathers and sons that have like decided to take their vacation to this event because they're a huge fan of, you know, GameX, and they want to hang out and be a part of that, right? And
is it too early to break out playing Genshin again
it's interesting
on the E3 reaction stream?
Feelings in this conversation, because like GDC is probably my favorite event of the year because the press is not the focus at all. There's not like big announcements or anything. And yet we as press get some of our best material out of GDC because it's an environment where game developers are just talking to each other and we're kind of listening in. And it's an environment where game developers like have their guard down. They're not, you know, engaged in the deep secrecy that I think Chris is referencing there very often, right? They're doing panels. They're sort of, you know, talking up their
Play Zelda Wind Waker?
Their narratives and like,
Got it.
You know,
On
what's
it.
kind of interesting them in the moment. And that's a great environment for interviewing and discovering stuff. So I don't know. I mean, whichever direction E3 takes long term, I just think it sort of has to not compromise and sort of meet in the middle of all this stuff, but really have clarity and identity.
Well, I'm very much aware of the time, so I'm going to wrap up with a sort of fun last question. So, what is a memorable E3 interview that you can share with us?
Mine's a little sad in retrospect, but I still very much enjoyed the conversation that I had. It was before No Man's Sky came out, and I interviewed Sean Murray, and he was so excited to talk about this game and to talk about all the procedural generation and that work that was going into it. Alongside that interview, he had one of his programmers like showing me behind the scenes how that procedural generation worked. I thought it was such an interesting way of doing an interview where I was actually seeing behind the scenes elements of what was actually going into the game.
Yes, that's the point of a behind the scenes interview. Thank you.
Eloquent way. So it's only a little sad in retrospect because obviously there are a lot of moments where developers kind of maybe regret, like, did I say too much? Did I accidentally promise something that I wasn't intending on promising. But I think
Oh, is
ultimately
she
as a
talking about how
board,
she
to me,
set
in that
she helped
experience,
set No Man's
his
Sky up for
passion, and I
absolute
could
failure
see
by
his
mentioning all
pride
sorts of
for what
features
his
that were
team
not
was
actually going to
working
be
on,
in
and
the
I think that
game?
there's something still,
When
you
she
know, really
when she
genuine
wrote those
and
articles,
heartfelt about that.
that was like full customization confirmed in No Man's Sky. When Sean was like, you can kind of customize your stuff in No Man's Sky on release. Like, don't get me wrong, Sean definitely overhyped some aspects of his game, but goddamn, did game journalism not fucking help him at all.
So I guess I'll
They'd
share
be like, could you customize your character? He'd be like, a little bit. And then she was like, full customization confirmed for No Man's
The
Sky.
main hall, right? And it was the final day, and I was doing a direct-to-camera of like, hey, this is E3, I'm going to wrap it up. And at this point, I'm like running on no sleep, and I'm like covered in sweat. I look like an
And she's like, I regret saying some of the things I said. Yeah, all right.
Very
Thanks.
tall and handsome man comes around front, steps in front of our camera as I'm preparing, bops me on the nose, and just goes, too cute, and then walks off. And it was like it was the nicest I've ever felt in my entire life.
Like you, Chris, the best conversations at E3
What?
happen outside the floor, outside these kind of formal settings. Dean Hall is someone who's just an absolutely unfiltered, water hose of information and design thoughts. Like anytime I sit down with him, it's a chance to sort of you get the sense that he's peering into his sketchbook. I mean, this is someone who's fundamentally optimistic and imaginative, and half the things that he tells you, like his idea for a mountaineering game, or because he'd climb Mount Everest, like they're not going to come true.
These people are so awkward. Yeah.
Just someone who's just constantly dreaming and is like completely removed from that scripted, media trained personality that we're referring to.
What's up, Caluman?
Real quick for me, just like Chris, not the best, but for me the most embarrassing, having to play Sekiro in front of Miyazaki, and then do an interview. Couldn't get past the first enemy I came across, and then I had to do a 50-minute chat with him. So that was lovely.
Thank you so much. That's it from us. Thank you to Tina, Randy, Evan, and Christopher. Thank you so much. Do check out all of our websites for all your E3 news and goings on. Have fun during the event, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the show.
Oh my God, we're back to it. Smash that like button. Thank you, Caluman. I appreciate it.
IGN Summer of Gaming has officially partnered with the ESA for E3 2021. IGN Summer of Gaming is now all summer long. From major press conferences and announcements at E3 2021 to the IGN Expo with exclusive gameplay and reveals to exciting first looks at the hottest new games and in-depth developer interviews, IGN Summer of Gaming has it all. IGN Summer of Gaming begins right now.
Oh, well, it actually just about ends, man. I think this is the last conference for the day.
More power.
I love Pac-Man 99. It's so fun. And
Oh, they're talking about Pac-Man. Holy shit, does Namco actually have stuff to show?
You think you're gonna get
Wait.
top 20? Get out of here. Get out of my face. Get out of my face. Get bunched on. It's my first session. I got like top 30. The next session it was top 20. And then the third session forward it was top 10. I see what I want and I go get it. I want my first place. And they're gonna give it to me. I don't care if I don't get first place. It's fine. But that's like the mentality I have for it. And yeah, I'm actually super competitive.
Is she announcing
Thanks to our sponsors at DoorDash. Get more
the next
from your
Pac-Man game?
neighborhood,
Like
from
what?
Restaurants and convenience to grocery and corner stores.
I don't get what was that.
Folks, well, we got some more great games coming our way, no question about it, but what is it that draws us into a game's story?
Pac-Man 99 for Switch. Pac-Man anything, dude.
A heroic protagonist, perhaps, or maybe it's just a story that makes us laugh, that keeps us coming back. When we return, more on what stories we love in our games.
Pac-Man DoorDash crossover, yes. You follow your DoorDash driver through traffic by GPS tracking. Holy shit, they just played this Norton Ad. I don't know, what are we doing? More power. Who is this more power guy?
IGN Summer of Gaming has officially partnered with the ESA for E3 2021. IGN Summer of Gaming is now all summer long. From major press conferences and announcements.
Guys, did you know
to the IGN
that
Expo,
IGN is covering
gameplay
E3?
and reveals to exciting first looks at the hottest new
I can't
games
believe
and
Diz is missing
developer
this.
interviews. IGN Summer of Gaming has it all. IGN Summer of Gaming begins right now.
Alright. Ad time. E3 ad time. You'll love to see it, baby.
Those that surprise me, those that make me think, that leave room for interpretation.
What I've always looked for in a game was just this really grand, epic story that makes you feel like you're part of a universe that's not Earth.
Ooh, I'm such a sucker for narrative-driven stories.
I appreciate really good character development. Stories.
Yeah, okay, so does everybody.
You know, I always...
What? No one's ever been like, you know what? I hate when my games have good, compelling stories with characters that are well written.
Choices matter. Like, what do you mean? I picked this and he died?
Feeding you breadcrumbs of what happened
here,
what this story is, and it's up to you.
I hate that.
To sort of like
That's my least favorite thing.
and just take you down this rabbit hole.
I just got done playing Red Dead Redemption 2.
Blurred out that guy's shirt. Why not just tell him to wear a different shirt? Be like, hey man, you can't wear that shirt.
I like stories that are willing to explore more difficult topics, but not treat it like it's something that you can joke about.
Games are empathy machines.
And I can just appreciate when they have this absolutely massive narrative and so much going on that it could absolutely turn people away from it and they don't care.
Set in places or have storylines that are
Good guy.
really depressing or morbid, but then they inject these bits and pieces of humor. Fallout does that.
Have they talked about John and Scooter? Calumet, I don't know if they've talked about John and Scooter yet. Oh my god, it's Meg Turney. I remember her. Is she still relevant?
Welcome back to E3 Live from Los Angeles, and I want to continue this conversation about storytelling. And
Not a single one of them said like a storytelling or like a story that they liked.
I've really taken their narratives to cinematic levels. Games like The Last of Us, Detroit Become Human, BioShock, Red
The
Dead,
star of the Hunger Games.
Guys, what
Yes,
type
they
of story
did.
do you like?
They got all kinds of actors in
Alex, I'm
here.
starting with you.
Yeah.
My favorite gamers
okay,
like
so
T-Pain.
the easy answer for me will always and forever be Halo. Of course. The Halo 1 story.
All right.
It was actually one of the first.
I like this guy. I made fun of him a lot during E3, but never mind.
For some reason,
He's the boy.
Books, and then from there, it just became a fascination. Another one that always stays in the back of my mind was Skies of Arcadia.
Oh, wow, okay.
I loved that game as a kid, and something about like being a pirate but believing in yourself and all that. It was just like a very uplifting story, and I enjoyed it so much. So yeah, those are ones that stand out for me.
Jackie, what about you?
I think I've spoken at length about the Super Nintendo games that have had a profound influence on me. But actually, I wanted to talk about The Last of Us and The Last of Us 2.
Please do.
You know,
I just played through those on my channel. You guys are welcome. You can watch them.
I know, right?
This little independent studio, no, nobody's
It's not extremely popular, but I'll be honest though, like That game haunts me to this day.
Sure,
I just
sure.
remember, I mean, the opening scene. I
Yeah.
still have not seen a game just punch me in the face like that. Like, I just remember being terrified, sad, angry, and then I was like, I'm 2 minutes into this thing, and I don't know what the hell is going on here. You know what I mean?
It's
and
heavy.
Yeah, it was just extremely heavy. And I thought The Last of Us 2 was.
Some have had a rather unknown take, and they just led straight through to The Last of Us. Yeah. I mean, you knew she wasn't gonna give any kind of answer other than the most mainstream answer.
There were times where I absolutely hated them, and I was just like, I can't stand you. And then there were times where they had me weeping, and I would just totally empathetic to their situation. Exactly. And
I don't know, man. I was not in the verge of tears once during The Last of Us 2. Not a singular time was I like,
my core that I can definitely relate to that. But just those two titles in particular, it's just a fantastic
who
series.
is this person anyway?
Listen, their storytelling, right? You're talking about things we can relate to. For me, it's the ones where we can't, but we still love that game. And so for me, you know, the final.
Can you guys relate to
no spoilers,
my
time you're playing The
Last of Us streams?
Part 1. Like I remember finishing that and putting it down and be like, I got killed because I thought I was gonna have a choice. I thought it was gonna do the video game thing of, do you want to do this or do you want to do that?
Yeah,
And I got destroyed because I didn't do what the thing it needed me to do. And so I remember finishing that and being like, Joel's the bad guy, and having that conversation about that with so many different people, and then going to part 2, and then throughout the game being like, don't do that, Ellie, but I keep wanting to play as her and understand what's happening. Like that's the power of video games, right?
Indeed it is.
Storyline-based games aren't the only ones we love. When we return here at E3 Live,
We'll be talking about Mario games.
Are taking a look at our favorite first-person shooters of all time. Don't go anyway. I wonder what Golden Boy is going to say. I wonder what Golden Boy is going to say.
Golden Boy seems like a man of fucking culture, if you ask me. I like that he led into, well, it doesn't always matter if a game has a good story or not, right, Nintendo? Talk about your favorite Nintendo memories
I think
of games that don't have fucking stories. Let's go.
So I shoved a bunch of pennies in it.
I have a photo of my mum with me literally in her belly playing Duck Hunt.
I got really into Duck Hunt. It definitely helped me learn not
I can't
to be
believe
so
Duck Hunt
loser,
has been
'cause every
referenced
time I
more
would
than
see that
once
dog
in
come
people's
up and
favorite
laugh at
Nintendo
me,
memories.
filled with so much hate as a 5-year-old.
Eventually, me and my big brother were saving up for a long time to finally afford ourselves a Game Boy.
A pink Game Boy Color with Pokemon Red.
I got that sweet.
Why wouldn't you get a red Game Boy Color for Pokemon Red? And then a blue one for Pokemon Blue?
It was like my #1. And way better than red and blue because it was harder because you start off with a Pikachu.
I wouldn't say I really found my passion until Super Nintendo. Link to the Past was just mind-blowing to me as a kid.
I must have been 5. I started with the Nintendo 64,
Donkey Kong 64.
Oh, they cut him off. They didn't even let Critical talk. They let all these people talk for like 10 minutes, and they're like, Critical gets to say, I like the 64.
Did you also play Mario?
Get this
Kart
man off the
7?
screen.
I did. I got so good, I learned how to drift with my feet. I don't know why.
Oh my god, it's this ad again. Holy crap. Have we just devolved into ads now for E3? What? Is it No More Heroes on PC now? The game industry needs more ads! Hang on. I'm gonna go plug my phone in. Game industry needs more ads. Give us more ads.
篝火营地是中国领先的游戏媒体，创立于2018年，致力于为全世界的中文游戏玩家提供专业、精准、迅速的资讯情报。篝火营地立足于中国，与多家国际一流游戏媒体同行达成正式内容合作关系，源源不断地将
Oh, are we talking about IGN Summer of Gaming yet?
全球中文游戏玩家。自成立以来，篝火
Have we talked about that yet?
的内容浏览量已经超过5亿，服务了数百万的读者和玩家。 我们的愿景是做游戏文化传播者。您可以在全
Yeah, but did the No More Heroes games get ported to PC yet?
或者访问3w.gamebonfire.com 来加入游戏传播者的行列。
Holy shit, I still can't get over it. Namco literally had nothing to show. Like, actually nothing.
As a part of
Well, let's
Playful,
check.
GameSpot will be bringing you the latest gaming news and announcements, interviews with developers, the biggest press conferences, and lots more.
Yeah.
Play for All is our yearly online event that combines the
No
excitement
More Heroes requires a controller to play. Playing with a keyboard and mouse isn't supported.
lots of special guests who are going to help us raise money.
Good PC port.
So join us in June for E3 and Play for All on GameSpot.com, YouTube.com/GameSpot, Twitch.tv/GameSpot, and as a part of E3's official broadcast. See you then.
So when I was in college in the early 90s, I
this
was
to my
a
wish
computer
list for you,
science
buddy.
major at the University of Minnesota, and I loved gaming. I loved computers. You know, I knew I always wanted to do something.
I also wanted to
it
do
wasn't
something. Thanks,
until,
man.
You know, I played the very first Doom game, Doom 1. You know, I never even played Wolfenstein before that, but I remember I downloaded Doom 1. It was like my entire life changed. And I was so amazed and surprised and at awe. And the
I think
fact
No More Heroes
that
should be played on keyboard. It doesn't matter if it should be played on
and that
keyboard or
also
not.
let people like us,
It's the fact that it's on
users,
PC and you
create their own
can't
content.
use a keyboard.
And when I learned how to make my own levels in Doom, I thought that it's amazing because the possibilities were infinite. And I fell in love with making levels. I was lucky enough to be contacted by id Software to work on some levels for the Doom 2 Masters Edition. And then you know
Yo, that guy has a PS5 in the background.
You know, I started at id Software as just a little level designer, and I worked my way up. We just wanted to make cool stuff.
This guy actually does have a bunch of really cool stuff in the background, man. I'm actually kind of jealous of that setup. That giant Iron Man statue, I bet you that's like $1,000.
You know, that was our focus, to make cool things.
He's got the little
So
Fallout
pressure was
bobblehead holding the controller.
by ourselves, you know, and in the interactions that we did have with our fans, especially like when QuakeCon took off, that was awesome. That was a lot of pressure when you actually go and meet people in person. But I do believe that there is more pressure on young teams today, especially ones that have had success, because I've seen it. The biggest handicap of people after making a successful game is their own success and the pressure that the world puts on them, the pressure that they put on themselves. So we were blessed, to be honest, to kind of create this team while kind of the internet created that, you know, the behemoth that it is now. I would love to say that we were so clever that we had this great vision that we executed on, but no, we were just making cool stuff, and the world just came to us.
Ooh, baby, time to talk about one of my favorite genres in gaming. Welcome back to E3, live from Los Angeles. Now, Doom is certainly one of the godfathers of the FPS genre, along with Wolfenstein. Thank you, Avali, for fanning me down there. You know, you also got classics like GoldenEye, a bunch of games we grew up with that we loved. But guys, you know, what FPS titles would you consider your personal faves? David, we'll start with you.
Well, it's funny, right before we came back, we were talking about how hot it is in the studio right now.
Ooh.
You were just getting some fan service.
Yes.
Someone mentioned it's...
Hell.
Someone mentioned...
Oh, he made a weep joke.
That's good. Someone mentioned super hot, that it's super hot in here. That reminded me, yeah, super hot's definitely one of my favorite shooters of the past few years. Such a cool mechanic that time only moves when you do.
Yeah.
It's not a shooter that's about quick reflexes. It's not a twitch shooter. It's about careful planning out your next move.
God, that reminds me of that speed run
top of that, it's
we
also
watched
very cool
of Super Hot VR. That was like the coolest speed run we watched on stream.
Really fun, really
That was
fun.
pretty sick.
Dan, what about you?
I have to give it up for the game that really introduced me to the world of competitive multiplayer shooters, and that is Unreal Tournament.
Let's go.
Throwback.
Yeah.
It was one of my all-time favorite games, playing Instagib CF, all-time great Instagib CTF, excuse me, and my favorite map of all time. I don't think it's been rivaled to this day, and that is Facing Worlds, one of the best multiplayer maps ever. You're just on this moon base. The physics in that game were so good. The gunplay was
Moon
so
base
good.
alpha?
to go back and revisit it when I get home. Now I'm jonesing to play.
Now you want to play. What about for you, Michael?
I am an OG Counter-Strike player. So
Yeah.
CS 1.6.
Nice.
I love CS because there's a very particular way to play it, like spray patterns, strategies, positioning. It's so important. Are you CT? Are you on T side?
Yep.
And where exactly do you plant the bomb? There's so many intricate things about CS that I actually learned, so it made me feel smart. It made me feel like I was good at the game.
Wow, well, I'm glad something made you feel smart, buddy.
All the very specific things that you should do. But that's competitive multiplayer. I know it's what I'm about to say is it's not necessarily a first-person shooter. It's a first-person RPG. But Deus Ex, the original that came out in 2000,
baby.
changed my life.
Heck yeah, that is a great game. Ovly, I know you're traditionally, League of Legends, and, those games, but I know you branch outside. What do you got?
So I was going to say Valorant at first, but
Okay,
then
obviously.
I realized, I remember when I was in like 2nd or 3rd grade, I played this online game. It was the poor man's Counter-Strike, and it was called Soldier Front. It was totally random. It was like you couldn't
Nintendo
afford,
conference sucks.
I couldn't afford like an Xbox.
It's already over, Diz.
So I was just like this.
They showed the Man of Medan sequel, and that was it.
That's the other thing. I didn't have to purchase.
I think it was the worst conference of the day, or of E3, which is a surprising accomplishment at this point.
I like that. Some good ones that I'm going to rattle off for you. Dusk, play that. Great game. Bullets Per Minute, another fantastic game. Try that out. Not a first-person shooter per se, but Ghost Runner, unbelievable. If you haven't checked that game out.
Man, I've heard a lot of good things about that. Hang on.
And then there's this small independent game called Halo. That's the other one that you need to play right now. If you don't have Master Chief Collection, it's from an independent studio called 343 Studios. Check them out. I'm getting all hot bothered talking about it.
All right, I like this guy.
But yes, there are so many great FPS games. We didn't even get through like Quake, obviously Granddaddy, BioShock as well. Like you got a lot of great games, guys. But we're all done talking shooters for now. But when we return, an exclusive look at one of our favorite devs that we've seen here, Freedom Games' Dark Deity. So grab your swords because that is going to be coming up next.
This isn't my contract.
Wish they announced the next BioShock game. Well, Namco is definitely not going to be the one doing that.
As a part of Play For All, GameSpot will be bringing you the latest gaming news and announcements, interviews with developers, the biggest press conferences, and lots more. Play For All is our yearly online event that combines the excitement and announcements of E3 with charity live streams the following week with lots of special guests who are going to help us raise money for able gamers. So join us in June for E3 and Play For All on GameSpot.com, YouTube.com/GameSpot, Twitch.tv/GameSpot.
I guess I don't know what I was expecting Namco to bring. Like, literally anything, I guess. Would have been okay.
中国领先的游戏媒体，创立于2018年，致力于为全世界的中文游戏玩家提供专业、精准、迅速的资讯情报。篝火营地立足于中国，与多家国际一流游戏媒体同行达成正式内容合作关系，源源不断地将最新鲜的游戏资讯第一时间带给全球中文游戏玩家。自成立以来，篝火营地在
BioShock 4 will probably be new gen only. I don't know, it depends on when the game comes out, because at this point I'd be shocked if anything is new gen only for a while, just because it's so hard for anyone to get a new gen thing. Holy shit, this ad's playing again. They're really trying to desperately crawl their way through what's left of this conference, huh? Balan Wonderworld has been better than E3. Yeah, that's probably pretty accurate.
Welcome back to E3 2021. Our next game, it takes place in a mythical land broken by the horrors of war and evil. With an array of weapons and magic at your side, Are you ready to command one of the game's 30 characters to become a legend in the land of Dark Deity? If so, here's a look at the road ahead.
Holy shit, do we actually have another game? Is it happening? Alright, let's take a look. What is this? Oh, this is that Fire Emblem ripoff, isn't it?
Whenever you need me.
Maybe I should raise my rates. I failed my people.
Weakness has consequences.
This looks boring.
This would make for a fine tale.
Hey there, I'm Chip Moore, Game Director for Dark Deity, and it's finally time to reveal the release date. You may not know this, but Dark Deity is the first game that we've ever worked on, so to be at E3 showing this game is a dream come true. And we thought, what better way to make the most out of our first E3 than to release Dark Deity today, live on stream, right now. As of this moment, Dark Deity is available on Steam.
You saw this at the Indie Showcase? Yeah, but you're probably gonna... Oh, wait. This game's out now? Shadow Drop, baby!
I can hear Michael and Dane going crazy back there. Dark Deity is available now for download at Steam, so go check it out.
Yeah, just came out.
The developer showcases continue here at
Boom.
E3 2021. Now it's time for Eureka Studio.
Out now. I don't want to get it for Brooke. Feeling it.
Hello everyone, welcome to Eureka Studios E3 Showcase. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Stella. Eureka is a published team which started the business in 2019.
And so far, we've helped several indie games achieve success in the Chinese market.
And today we are here to check out the latest selection of our upcoming titles.
There are quite a lot of games here. Let's just get started, and I bet you'll find a new favorite.
Loopmancer.
I need to find a missing girl, a journalist.
This looks pretty. Looks like it's a 2D game though, so I'm not sure it's entirely my thing, but looks kind of cool.
But met a lot of resistance. What happened? I should be dead already.
Zishu, you need to find the journalist.
Hello. Hot ninja chicks. Nice.
What the hell is going on? Seems I'm trapped in some kind of death loop.
This reminds me of Bionic Commando.
This is not what it used to be.
You guys remember that game?
I need to figure out what is going on. The only way to go further is to get stronger.
God, imagine if this game was like first person, dude. Every time I see games like this, I think about how cool this would look in first person.
SWS is a tactical siege game based on
That looked pretty
real-world
cool.
physics. In this game,
All right, we're starting to see
operate
actual
your own
games
squad
now.
and command them in battle. Capture enemy cities, and you will win the war.
Yeah, Flower, feel free to join the Discord. It'd be fun to have you chat. We're always talking in between streams and stuff.
战术工程游戏，游戏里你不必费心每个单位的操作，因为士兵们都有自己独立的 AI，可以感知队友和周围的环境来协同作战，并且在战事焦灼时，你还可以附身在部队的指挥官自己直接上。在未来，我们还计划开发自定义模组和联机模式，希望你会喜欢。
Yeah, Bionic Commando is Spencer. He's
If you're a
also in
fan
Marvel
of
vs.
roguelike
Capcom,
games,
you're right.
You have to check out Metal Mind and its 100% customizable mecha modification system.
How many of these indie games are getting released this year that are just the these twin stick shooters that look like Hotline Miami? I feel like we've seen dozens of them. It's the Nyan Cat gun. Wow. This game has memes.
嗨，世界各地的玩家们，大家好，我是核心重组的制作人 Josh。我们的游戏是一款融合了机甲改造和 roguelite 元素的俯视角射击动作游戏。玩家可以通过在地牢中探索和战斗，获取资源和部件，综合考虑装甲、重量、热量、电力等物理机制，按照自己的想法构筑 build， 打造独一无二的战争机器，最后战胜敌人，大杀四方。
Why would you wait to release the demo tomorrow? Why wouldn't you release the demo today in the middle of your presentation? People are going to forget by tomorrow.
While gathering, crafting, and exploration fused with martial arts and battle experience.
Like, that seems like a massive marketing misstep. Like, premiere your game at this massive, like, conference event, and then be like, check out tomorrow when we release it. Bro, what do you mean? I'm here now. That looked boring. This game looks identical to the last game. Why show these games back to back? It's so weird when they have trailers for this and there's like no sound effects to the game. Like what? Alright, great.
The Immortal Mayor is a construction and management sim game. You will play as a local god that watches over the land. Befriend other gods and use
Another one of these games, man. There's like a dozen of these games that announced at E3 this year. These like farming life simulator things. How many of these got announced, man? I should have bet on a lot of these games getting announced. It's literally the same building mechanic as the last game they showed. Yeah, I know. So many of these games are like indistinguishable from one another. Again, another demo available tomorrow. I'm gonna forget about this game. Release your demo now.
It's a strategy game where players construct and manage their bases on Mars. Your goal is to modify the planet into a place suitable for life.
This is also the same kind of game, except now it is on Mars. Alright.
全球的玩家朋友们，你们好，我是重塑火星的开发者山丘。重塑火星是一款火星题材的策略建造游戏，由我一个人独立开发。在游戏里，你将白手起家，从火星上面采集矿物
Gather minerals. It's StarCraft.
不断的改善火星的
More minerals are required.
一批又一批的火星
You require more Vespene gas.
火星上有恶劣多
If this doesn't have the Protoss announcer from StarCraft, then I don't care.
和冲突，这些都将给你带来不小的挑战。
Why would you show all these games like next to
为你
each
开
other?
启一场特别的火星之旅。
Moism is a Chinese martial art detective game. You will play as a detective who defeats enemies with wit and a silver tongue. Crack the case and bring justice to the world.
That's kind of cool.
会不会是？不过这件披风上有一处奇怪的痕，就是在流星上痕迹的。
Probably a while before it gets an English release, though, I guess, huh?
干净的痕迹。小子，你不要太过嚣张。那么还有另一种可能，一定有哪里不对。如果宗明之死确实如我推理的那样，那么这庄子里的每一个人，都可能是杀人凶手。
Yes. See, this was smart, though. Demo available today. You kind of should have dubbed the trailer, though, if you do have an English version, or at least have subtitles. I don't know what just happened.
And thank you too for watching this video.
To stay up to date with all the latest news, please
That game actually looked pretty cool. I'm not gonna get it though, because it looks like I won't be able to understand anything going on.
And have a good time.
You gonna play the new Danganronpa game? Yeah, I'm planning on it. I said that on the stream earlier during the Nintendo Direct. I'm probably gonna stream the new Danganronpa game. When does that come out, by the way, again? I kind of forgot. Like June, right? Later this month?
Fueling us, running us here around the E3 stage.
That baby right there.
The Blade 14.
Yes, I've been eyeing it all day. It is gorgeous, and I want it.
You're gonna get it. You talked a good game about pre-ordering beforehand.
Yeah, no, I definitely am gonna pick that up for sure because I think like I need something slim.
It just said 2021. Oh,
I need something to play all of those great Eureka.
hopefully it's not in fucking October like every other release is gonna be in 2021.
So the first game that they showed, a 3D side scroller, it looked pretty solid. We were trying to figure out if it was.
God damn, if it's in October, man, what the fuck? How am I gonna play all the games that come out in October and October?
So I'm interested in jumping into that and checking it out.
Maybe I'll have to take time off work.
I think from a E3 graphical perspective, the one that was made me turn my head the most. There's a lot of other ones that are coming up that are stylized, that have a lot of different looks to them.
All of the games looked the same except this one looked good.
We're gonna show you a
and
bunch of stuff. We hope you find your next favorite game here, right?
The
we're talking about E3 and the fact that you can start with
Chinese Ace Attorney at the end of the stream also looked pretty good.
Post at the end of the day here with Eureka and the GameSpot showcase we're about to do with some of the indie games and talk about smaller.
Oh, there's gonna be. That's good
What I
news.
like about what we're doing here is for any of our viewers who
He just said there's actually going to be games at that showcase. That's cool. I was worried that it was just going to be another panel.
How the experience goes. You have your really big booths, right? You got your PlayStation, your Xbox, your Nintendo, blah blah blah, right?
Yeah, you can buy them separate digitally, but I think I'm going to end up buying the collector's edition physical one, Hunter, because it comes with like a soundtrack and poster and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Actually caught my attention was Immortal
I'm probably going to buy them. Even though I have 1, 2, and 3 already, I'm probably going to buy the physical edition on Switch just for the collector's stuff.
Exactly, yeah, exactly.
Looks
Here
pretty
you go.
cool.
Be a god, help the people of town, go over there, befriend other gods. What is not to like, ladies and gentlemen? Of course, we have more games to show off, believe it or not. So it's time for you to sit back and enjoy the GameSpot Play for All showcase.
Neat. Wow, they're transitioning right into another thing with games. Holy shit, what? I didn't see that coming.
Hey everyone, I'm Timur Hussain, Managing Editor of GameSpot.com, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to the Play for All Showcase, brought to you by GameSpot and The Mix. In this showcase, we're going to be highlighting developers that represent the bright future of video games, boosting awareness for games and teams that haven't had as much visibility as they deserve. More importantly, we're highlighting games and teams that encourage inclusivity, tolerance, and togetherness at their core. All the games in this showcase are made by a diverse set of creators that have important stories to tell. These are all games that made us think, smile, get excited about, and feel good about what games have to offer. And we hope you feel the same way too.
What is poppin', everyone? My name is Justin Woodward, co-founder of The Mix, the Media Indie Exchange, and the independent game development team in Terabang Entertainment. You guys may not know, but The Mix and GameSpot have teamed up for over 5 years now during E3 to showcase some of the most interesting indie titles that have graced our screens, with interviews and trailers from developers from all over the world. This showcase is no exception. To the sentiment that Timur expressed, our goal is to really shed light on some gems hidden or otherwise that you may not have had the honor of checking out. So with that, let's get started with some up-and-coming game trailers and hop into our first interview with Zalaver Nelson, who will dive into his new game, El Paso Elsewhere. Let's hit it.
Good. More pixelated stuff. Ooh, waifus though. Dude, what did I just say? How many of these indie, like, twin-stick shooters are we getting? Holy crap. This is the theme for the show this year. It's gonna get lost in the crowd. There's gonna be one of these twin-stick shooters that's gonna be the popular one. And the rest of these are not gonna be. They're all gonna be fighting for the spot. There's gonna be too many of these for the average person to buy, like, all of them. This one might come out on top, though. It definitely aesthetically looks the best. I think. But I can't imagine they can all play that much differently. God, still excited for Metroid Dread. Did they say if pre-order is open for that game already? That looked cool, though. Orange-flavored potato? What does that even mean? What the fuck is an orange-flavored potato? POV, you have girlfriend and happy. It was all a dream. Your life sucks. Oh. That looked cool. Sure, man.
What is the most powerful drink around the world?
Where is it? Wow, big mistake not having it easy to find on Steam.
Enter your name and its maker.
What did we miss? Soda can fighter? Pop can fighter? Mine's beneath us. Right. I'll move this out of the way. Yeah, you're right. I always wonder about games like this where they make their characters like all like cartoony and funny. Even if the mechanics are good, will the game ever become super popular, or will it be limited by its like characters? Like if these were replaced with like human models that people could relate and identify with, would this game like pop off? I mean, it looked fun. I would love that. Looked like a game I'd like to sit down with my buddies drunk and just play.
One morning while
But
fishing, the sky suddenly turns to gray, and all the colors fade away.
is Adventure Time? What is this? Rainbow Fuel. This actually looks kind of cool. Blanco's Exposed is the greatest game of all time, you mean?
Rainbow Billy, the curse of the Leviathan.
Play the demo tomorrow. What are you doing, man? I would have fucking... I'm not gonna remember this game by tomorrow.
Motel in El Paso, Texas, that gained another 46 stories yesterday, all below ground. It's extremely haunted, and Max is at the bottom. Dracula, Lord of the Vampires. She's waiting for me.
What's up, Slowpoke? Tell you what, all these guys at this conference are Slowpoke. Is this like... This is like a Max Payne spiritual successor. Like if Max Payne released on the PS2 again. An original Xbox.
Would you believe that this is a love story?
I love a person who respects the classics, and we have Zalve.
I like Max Payne. Oh, it's not coming out until 2022, bruh.
T-shirt. How you doing, Zalve? Tell us about your T-shirt.
The developer of Toe Jam and Earl gave it to me. I had the fortunate medium. He was like, "Do you want a T-shirt?" I was like, "Absolutely." And now this is one of the most treasured things that I put on my body.
All right, Zalve. We're not here to flex. We're here to talk about your new game, El Paso Elsewhere.
Which is
Tell us
itself
about
a flex.
which is a huge flex. Like, I'm making a game and I've got a Toe Jam and Elsewhere T-shirt.
Was Toe Jam and Earl that cool?
So you are from Strange Scaffold, a really cool little studio, and you've made a bunch of exciting games. But the one we're talking
I think I
about,
remember playing one Toe Jam and Earl game.
it basically sold me on it.
I'm afraid to Google Toe Jam and Earl, actually.
Which was
That's gonna like give me a horrible result.
I was like, I know exactly what that means, but there might be some people out there who are like, what the hell does that even mean? So tell us, what does that mean? What is El Paso Elsewhere?
It is a spiritual successor and evolution to classic shooters like Dead to Rights, Max Payne, and anything that goes bump in the dark, really.
Spiritual successor to Max Payne. Well, at least he acknowledges it. That's exactly what I said.
And this very kinetic, physical way of interacting with the world in slow-mo and applying that to a nuanced story of monsters and love and of fighting your way through hell floor by bloody floor.
Awesome. What other games are out there, whether it's AAA or indie, are you looking to beyond, you know, the obvious inspirations like Max Payne as things that are inspirational to you?
Inspirational, more like we ripped it the fuck off, boy. Let's go.
The Die Hard trilogy for PS1.
I love that game. I love that game.
That's why we're set in a motel, and that's why you're fighting in this bloody.
I like that we're reaching an era that retro games are like look like PS2 era games. Kind of cool.
The idea and the fact.
In the next like couple years, we're gonna go back to that graphic style for indie games. That'll be funny.
You're told you can be president, you can be an astronaut, you can be a game developer. The one thing you can't be is black and angry.
Wait, where did this go?
That's terrifying. That will terrify supportive white people. Being black and angry.
What?
Being black and justifiably raging against a world that itself is destroying.
When did we get so real? I thought we were talking about Max Payne.
Not just your family, but also anything that doesn't fit into this very precise mold of how you are supposed to behave.
What?
So, long story short, we're making an original hip-hop soundtrack, including such lyrics as "Terrorism is easy, be black in public," because there is nothing that more clearly expresses fighting through hell floor by bloody floor than some good old-fashioned hip-hop.
Oh yeah.
So I'm hoping that through the gameplay, through the narrative, and through our audio layers, we are delivering the same sense of
sure
freedom of expression and critically feeling badass, even if you're just sitting in your room in your underwear.
Yeah, it's that
playing
feeling
the
of
game.
it's that feeling of knowing you can be yourself.
I felt like I missed like the context of that or something.
I don't have to keep up with pop music just to fit in. I can just listen to rap if that's the only thing I want to do. And I remember I had that kind of realization around the same time Until the End of Time came out, Tupac Shakur's kind of album, and I just blasted the
That was an abrupt transition.
One of the best like months of my life.
I was just to say, it's weird talking to people who don't understand that like a song like "The Police" isn't like, hey, we're going to jack up the police. It is an expression of, I cannot do anything against this overwhelming fascist force.
Yeah.
But I can rap, and you're going to hear every amount of this justified fury and rage expressed through music.
Sullivan, thank you so much for taking some time
So what about
to talk to us about El Paso Elsewhere.
What about the game?
See more of it very, very soon.
Oh, this guy has that guy had figurines of the twins from Persona in the background. That was cool.
Interested in Zalaver's team take on the genre. Next up, though,
hey Neku, I don't know what's going on, man.
A tasty game for your senses. You know, every time I see a game that has to do with food in 4K, it makes me want to grab my phone and hit that DoorDash button to hop right in. But let's jump into some more trailers, and Tam will interview Chikon with Soup Pot in our next developer interview. Here is a world premiere.
This reminds me of like Battle Block Theater from Behemoth. Are they still making games, man? The makers of Alien Hominid?
past, I worked on series and political games like Headliner about fake.
Oh, they're making a new Alien Hominid game. When did this get announced?
It's been very draining, both mentally and emotionally. I really needed a break, something that would be silly, colorful, and gameplay focused.
Hi, my name is Yaku, and I would like to tell you about our game. What the?
What's a better idea than a game where you play as a little cloud and ruin everybody's day? Limiting our protagonist to being a cloud was an interesting design challenge that actually spurred a lot of innovation.
Looks fun.
Rely on weather powers.
Release date approaching Earth. Cool.
What about different rain modes? What if you could rain acid rain and corrode vehicles? What about raining oil and propagating fire? What about raining coffee into mugs of tired office workers? And then we realized, why limit ourselves to liquids?
Was that supposed to be the 1984 Apple commercial? Maybe.
That can pet dogs. Why not rain swords and go on an epic adventure, solving quests and exploring dungeons? What if other games got invaded by the cloud? What if you were...
Hey, that was Counter-Strike. Wow.
You're the monster. Forcing ourselves to be a cloud give birth to many unusual, if hilarious ways of subverting player expectations. Always expect the unexpected. Rain on Your Parade is out now.
Huge shadow drop. Rain on Your Parade, baby. Let's go. I do respect this that this is actually just a bunch of game announcements. That's pretty cool.
I remember everything.
We're getting a lot more games than I thought.
The colors, the sounds, oh, the words. Words are how I collect my memories. They are what tell me I'm still. I must hold them close. Before
tragedy.
It's too late.
Before 12 hours, huh? Get it? Wink, wink. Where's he at? First episode. Ooh, they're doing episodic games. Ooh, didn't we learn those aren't that great? Game of Thrones. Why do these games look like GameCube games? Because they're indie. This looks, ooh, there's another episodic campaign. Graphically, this looks good. They probably started making this before Game of Thrones Season 8. They're like, yeah, people like this aesthetic. And then Game of Thrones single-handedly butchered it with the ending of its show. One. Big boy damage. Again, another demo that's not out until tomorrow. Bro, release your shit on the day you're presenting. Cooking simulator. Wait, isn't there already a cooking simulator? What is this? Oh, I get it. This is Japanese cooking simulator.
Cooking is a comforting outlet for a lot of
Wow,
people,
of all the
and
games that they're gonna do a dev interview for, that's
same
the cooking
warm and fuzzy
simulator.
feelings from their new game Soup Pot. I'm joined by Gwen Foster, who has requested to be called Penguin Master, but is actually a technical director. How you doing, Gwen?
I'm doing great. Thank you for indulging me in that request.
I like it. I'm always up for a bit of shenanigans, so I super appreciate you doing that. So my first question for you, Gwen, is tell us about Soup Pot. What is it, and why should people be interested in it?
So one of the things that the team itself like really wanted to do. So originally it was just Rina and me, who is the art director of the game. We wanted a cooking game that's just really focused on cooking. So you have games that like Overcooked, but it's more of management of the kitchen, which is still super fun. You have games like Monster Hunter that feature cooking, but it's more animation. But there are very few games. Cooking Simulator is one of them.
Yeah, literally what I had said, cooking sim.
So we wanted to recreate that, but the gist is that where we grew up, we actually don't do recipes. And so like it's more of like heart or feelings or the voices of your ancestors. And we wanted
Wait,
to have
what?
that
The
in the
voices
game.
of your
So we
ancestors are a
actually
mechanic in the
released a
cooking
demo
game?
last year, and people really liked it. So we made it a bigger game. It's a Soup Pot.
Obviously, Soup Pot is coming from a team in Southeast Asia where not a lot of games come from, and that means that you have a distinct perspective. How much in terms of when you're creating the game are you thinking about, hey, this is an opportunity for us to not only put a real
Hey, what's up,
culture,
Diz?
but also educate people around the world about our culture? And I know I, for one, don't have a lot of exposure to Filipino food, and like
Has
now I
anyone
see
played
this not
Knockout
only
City?
as
Hey, what's up, mass
a game
producer?
that
No,
I
I have
play, but
not.
also as an educational experience. How much do you keep that in mind?
The thing is that, and this might sound corny, is that, when you're making something, of course, start with what you know. So definitely, like, we wanted to do a cooking game, of course, like, if we go ahead and do, like, Italian cooking, we're not going to be qualified to do that. And so it's a good coincidence in
What
a
do you
way
mean
because,
it's
like,
cooking?
we
Cooking is
just
like, I feel like
really
the thing
want,
that like,
like,
crosses
more of
across
our people
cultures. What do you mean we're
to
not going to be
enjoy. And
qualified
the
to do
thing is that
Italian
with
cooking?
food, the more like we delve into it, and because like we have DLCs planned that would touch on different cultures.
Oh, they have DLCs
The
planned.
more we realize that there's just so many similarities across the regions that it's really about ingredients and then like how you do things.
What do you think needs to be done, or what needs to happen for a region like Southeast Asia to become some kind of powerhouse in its own right, where people don't feel compelled to work for companies that are from other countries, but do what you do and put together a stronger presence in the region? What does the development community need to do, and what does the people outside of that, people who buy and play games, need to do to support that?
I think one of the things that hopefully doesn't get me canceled is that because we are from this part of region of the world, there is that like, oh, this game isn't worth this much money, and then developers also fall to prey that like because this is the notion of games like this that we are of lesser quality, like even though we're just as talented, that they price their games too low, and then which like to a consumer also thinks that like, oh, this is too cheap, like maybe
So she's writing the essay as to why she's going to release this as a $60 game, huh?
consumer and
Let's see. Is it
developers'
on
perspective, like in terms of
is it on
business.
Steam?
You see so many innovative games come out and like
No, she doesn't have a price listed.
and just more fun games coming from the West that people in Southeast Asia or any other region that doesn't have the similar access, they do also have those ideas, but they're not exposed to funding opportunities, they're not exposed to the right people. And Twitter does help, but at the same time, you just you have to have a strong heart and a thick skin to like get to a point where you feel like you deserve it, that hey, that's basically what happened to us, is that hey, there are no games that don't have recipes. That literally, you know, have a cooking game that has no recipes, where it's just like, hey, here are ingredients, do whatever you want. But yeah, I think that's mainly the thing, that, you know, the developers themselves have to feel like they deserve it, and at the same time they just have to make
Yeah,
a
that's
really
crazy.
great
A game like that has never existed before.
If, you know, luck falls on them, is something that everybody will get to love and enjoy to play.
So yeah, there's opportunities to support developers in these regions, and it doesn't mean getting something that's alien to you. It means getting something that's fresh and unique, and in a lot of cases something that you already know, but coming from a new angle, which is always good.
Thank you also. Like, this is super fun, and thank you for
Never.
giving us this platform and giving us this opportunity.
All hail the Penguin Master. Thank you.
Now I'm extremely hungry for some hot pot, some pho, some ramen, some chicken noodle soup. I don't even know. We have another set of sweet game trailers and reveals for you to sink your teeth into. And then we'll be talking to the dev team behind the classic RPG-inspired artistic fever dream, She Dreams Elsewhere, from Davion Gooden and Studio Severe.
All right, we're back
Check
in it
out
now.
the trailers, and we will be right back.
Some other games, please. They're picking the most random games, I feel like, to give developer interviews for. Ah. Alice in Wonderland, huh? It's kind of cool that this is, like, on 2 different planes. This looks pretty cool. What's up with the claymation animation they got going on too? I imagine there's gonna be some parts of this level that are this game that are very difficult. It does look cool.
Welcome to Lahaina, a wonder of endless beauty and nature. Let your troubles melt away on this tropical paradise. Relax your mind and soul on one of our breathtaking beaches, or stimulate your adventurous side with exciting activities found all over the island. The Aloha spirit will leave its mark on you and keep you coming again and again.
Far Cry
Ready
6.
for an unforgettable experience that is sure to bring you peace,
Oh no,
serenity,
this is
and
Dead
plenty of
Island
magical
2.
memories. Lahaina, the destination of a lifetime.
What's up, Dark Side? There's been a couple good games teased.
I will now gauge your interest in multiplayer by simulating a multiplayer experience. I am helping. We are doing this together. We are friends. People bond by doing activity.
I'm Gwen Frey, and this is Labrat.
Good. You have unlocked a new puzzle. Begin the next puzzle. Good work. Here is your
That happened to the GameCube version.
You are a tester. Your job is to evaluate a puzzle game that is being crafted by this artificial intelligence.
I am giving you control of your very own gun. Please be responsible.
Unfortunately, the AI has gained access to more data than we anticipated, and it seems to be generating new games based on whatever it finds.
The place where you live is dark and full of crimes.
What are we going to do? There are so many guns. You have nothing on me.
For updates on the game's progress, you can follow me on Twitter, and you can support us.
I mean, this looks cute. It's like a
on Steam.
Portal-inspired
Signing up for the closed
2D puzzle game.
Labrat.study. Thank you.
Welcome to Palm Mall. We're proud to welcome you to your home away from home. Grab some friends and head down to Watersons, where you can shop till you drop with the best deals in town.
Ah, yes. Undertale.
Featuring wall-to-wall screens and unparalleled sound. And have a blast with the whole family at Luna Dreamland, featuring our newest, most wildest attraction, the Hall of Mirrors. Our courteous staff is here to serve you at all times. After all, only the best for our guests. So much variety, so much style. What are you waiting for?
The music in this guy's voice are straight up putting me to sleep, man. Is this like an aesthetic or what?
A place to relax, a place to explore, a place to dream.
Undertale mall version, baby. Oh wow, it's on the Google Stadia.
Indie games are incredibly powerful because they often tackle themes, topics, and issues that are deeply human, but often sidelined by a lot of the major big budget titles. She Dreams Elsewhere is one of those indie games and is being made by one incredibly talented person, Davion Gooden, designer, director, writer, and pretty much everything else. Davion, thank you for joining. How you doing?
Thanks for having me. You know, the world's still kind of on fire, but other than that, you know, I'm vibing. How are you, man?
You know what? We will get to the world on fire bit because there's an interesting part of your development that I kind of want to check out. But first, like, tell us about She Dreams Elsewhere. What is it? And
you have a Stadia, Kaiman? Wow, good for you, man.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, She Dreams Elsewhere. It's a surreal adventure RPG about dreams, nightmares, and all types of.
It's a surreal adventure RPG, never before seen since Undertale.
You got to figure out like how you got into coma, find a way to wake up, confront your inner nightmares, and just have like this horrible trippy experience the entire way. So yeah, overall, it's a game about how it's like okay to not be okay, and like just to reach out to other people, like because you never know what they're going through, and all that other fun existential stuff like that.
One of my first questions with this game was, seeing it was all you doing this alone, and also seeing that it's something that hits on like really personal themes, and we've seen a fair few like one-person development teams like that handles heavy subject matter.
Looks like a good game to play high.
What's that process like?
You're right.
Making a game on your own, but also, for want of a better phrase, putting your pains into that game or your kind of like learnings into that game.
Megalomalia.
Like, and what are the challenges day to day that people might not know because they just see a game that looks cool and it's like, oh, one-person development team. What is the true human cost of a one-person development team?
Nothing. It's free.
It's a blessing and a curse because, on one hand, like
it's a blessing. It's a curse. It's a blessing. It's a curse.
And I'm like a weird guy with a lot of like weird ideas.
Tell yourself that.
So let's just kind of like do that like unfiltered and just like do me. Where normally in like a bigger development team, it'd be like, it'd have to like pass like X amount of approvals, get past the marketing department, all this stuff. So having that freedom has been like super liberating. It's a little lonely sometimes, but it is fun and. There's very few things I'd rather want to be doing right now. So I'm very thankful for it, but also I'm very, very tired.
So you mentioned earlier that, you enjoyed having the kind of autonomy to make the thing your own, but the support is really kind of tricky thing. Do you think we're getting to a stage where developing indie games is being supported by bigger publishers in a more meaningful way?
Any idea what I'm playing next?
The Xbox is going out there to find smaller developers.
I'm gonna play
PlayStation and that. Do you think that it's getting better?
That 13 Sentinels game next, I think.
The games industry could improve and support creators with unique voices so that there's more perspectives around.
All right, at least next weekend. I plan to beat 13 Sentinels over the weekend.
Just the support that like I've gotten from big.
And then I plan on playing a lot of the games that were announced
not only Nintendo
at E3 over the coming months.
Like actually
a lot of these look fun.
And just like you know, just stuff just to support what I'm doing. That's like dope, and I don't think you would have like seen that, especially for a game like this, like even like 5-10 years ago. So that's a really big set. With that being said, we still got a hell of a lot of work to do.
But yeah, this is the game
I
I think I plan on playing next.
Who is like working in the industry?
Just because everyone keeps asking me to play this.
Of, like, this industry and like, yeah, like who is,
but I
like,
should be able to beat
projects?
this in
Who's,
like a weekend.
Who's like funding these projects? Who's like getting these like, you know, deals?
The
like,
Game Awards is in.
And it's a matter of like actually like, you know, going out and like actively
30 minutes.
like reaching out to like a more like diverse like just creative squad, actually going out and like putting your money where your mouth is and like just funding like actual projects, like not even in like the tens of like thousands, but I'm talking like millions, you know. Like why isn't there like a Kawoom Nights Fund that like Xbox has, which is like funding like AAA games like made by like diverse teams? I know it's like happening in the background, but like we could do a lot better, I think. And it's crazy because like even like developers who are like, they might have like a few more people than me, but like, you know, we're still kind of doing the same thing. We're like the same age, like same experience level. Like they're still having like trouble like getting money. So it's like, what is happening here? I don't know.
Yeah,
Video games are weird.
There's definitely room for major public.
I don't mean to burst this guy's bubble, but I don't know what he's expecting about getting more funding for his Undertale-like game when people could just fund Undertale instead.
Because I feel like, yeah, it's happening in the background, but it shouldn't be in the background. It should be in the foreground so that people who may have these ambitions know that.
Last of Us Awards.
There, right? There's like almost like there's gatekeeping by not talking about it enough.
Right.
And we should be in a industry that is open about it and welcomes it. But yeah, I hope that we get to a stage where that is possible, and hopefully games like She Dreams Elsewhere does kind of help push that kind of path forward. Davion, thank you so much for taking the time out of your.
These interviews have all been super awkward.
About She Dreams Elsewhere.
I feel like
Davion's development journey with She Dreams Elsewhere is really fascinating. He was a part of the Mix's Black Voices in Gaming freshman class, which was super awesome. I'm looking forward to the release. Next up, we have another set of trailers, and Tam will be heating it up with another spicy
Can you pre-order
interview with
Metroid Dread already?
developer Severio and co-founder of Troglodytes, who will share his team's game, Ito no Yami Blind Fate. Let's get it.
I want to pre-order Metroid Dread, the special edition. I wonder if I can go to GameStop tomorrow and get a pre-order copy. That is all I've been able to think about. I heard the special edition already sold out. Don't do that to me. Don't do that to me, Diz. Is that true? Bro, what? No way. Well, hopefully it's selling out day one will inspire Nintendo to make more copies of this. Damn. Send me the link, Diz. Oh yeah, and there's another puzzle game.
Chinatown Detective Agency.
It won't let me pre-order from this link.
Well, it's a vibrant, neon-lit point-and-click adventure game set in a future Singapore.
How do I pre-order from here?
2032. It's a dark world inspired by hard-boiled detective films, comics.
Yeah, that's the link. It says not available.
But out of all of our sources of inspiration,
Bruh.
towers above all. The classic Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego games of the late 80s.
I'm gonna just go in person and see if I can get a pre-ordered copy.
Gameplay mechanic. Real research. As you play the role of Amira Dharma, an ex-cop and Interpol officer, you'll encounter cases with puzzles that will require you to literally look beyond the game for answers. That's right, you're going to have to consult Google to find the answers to the puzzles that cover a range of topics in history, art, science, and cryptography.
I feel like it's not a good idea to have part of your gameplay based around tabbing out of the game.
Search of the next lead or to track
Because I can only imagine a lot of people tab out and then not come back.
It's a game that asks you to be a real detective.
But shit, maybe I'll give it a shot, and instead of tabbing, maybe I'll stream this, and instead of like tabbing out to Google stuff, I'll have chat, like give me the answers.
World hanging on by a thread. Chinatown Detective Agency comes out later this year on PC, via Steam, a few other storefronts, and on Nintendo Switch.
That could be cool. But maybe scalpers? Yeah, could be, but I doubt Nintendo cares about scalpers. Nintendo always, like, artificially makes things scarce. I don't know, maybe they'll put more stuff out. I'll just go to GameStop tomorrow in person and see if I can pre-order special edition still. Description. Thank you, yes. It is a description. This just like looks like a lot of this dude dying. Visually very pretty. A lot of 2D samurai games coming out.
It is my great pleasure to be joined by the CEO of Troglodytes Games, Saverio Caproscio, and we're going to be talking about Blind Fate Edo no Yami, a super exciting anime-inspired action game that I love the look of. Saverio, how are you doing today?
Hi, Tamor. I'm fine. Hello, everybody. How are you?
Doing good. Thank you so much. So,
what were some other cool games from E3 that got mentioned that I might want to wishlist? Because I've added like a lot to my wishlist, I feel like.
It looks super cool.
Yes, thank you. The idea of the game comes, of course, by something innovative that we want to apply in the world of the video games. Basically, the main character is blind, so you cannot see.
Someone at Steam working pretty hard now to wait to actually put the games on the Steam page until they get announced.
Can receive handled data, and with the help of this data and of the sensors, it can perceive the environment. So you can navigate through the level, and we thought that this kind of combination is a really cool idea and will be welcomed by the public.
Yeah, that's a really cool intersection of two kind of concepts. How does it actually manifest in the video game? You talked about the character being blind and then receiving data. Can you break it down a little more so people who might not understand how that comes together can kind of get a grasp of how the game plays?
Yes, indeed. There are some other concepts. He receives data in his brain about the environment. Okay, so he sees the environment like, let's say, Google Map. So you see everything. but those data are old. They are from the past because it was an apocalypse. Due to the narrative, there was an apocalypse. So now, for instance, the environment has changed after so many years. So yes, you can trust the data that you have.
I always think it's funny when people don't clean up before they do have to do like a webcam presentation.
Collapsed. It does no longer exist. So you have to retrieve new data, and guess who has those new data? The enemies. So you have to kill key enemies. They are machines. They have eyes. They record everything. You have to steal the data from the enemies, so you can see the world how actually it looks like.
So one thing I really love the look of is the action. Can you talk a bit about the
Interesting concept, but because you can see everything in the game, it's mostly just a lore padding thing rather than some actual detail.
At the core of Ed on Miami.
Yes, I mean, we took inspiration both from movies actually and games. I mean, a movie about a blind samurai is Zatoichi, and Blind Fury, if you if you remember those movies. And okay, the settings, the futuristic settings, let's say, recalls a bit, let's say, just to say, Strider, and other games like the Ninja Gaiden and other games that we loved when in our childhood. So we mixed together.
And there's also one more mechanic to do with sensing and sensors and smell and that kind of stuff. It sounded really fascinating when I was learning about it. Can you tell me about it?
Yes, sure. Being blind, of course, you see the environment, but you don't see the things that are moving on and what sits inside. For instance, something is hidden. So you have three sensors: the hearing sensor, the heat sensor, and the smell olfactory sensor. So you can see the stimulus that are produced by the enemies or by the environment. Now, if the enemy is approaching you, you will see the ripple of the sound of the steps of the enemy. So you will see the enemies approaching. You can.
That's kind of cool. Weird that they didn't portray that in the cutscenes for the game, though.
Sensor to find a way out. So yes, the mechanic of the sensor helps you to navigate through the level and to fight. It's also a component to fight the enemy.
I feel like a good way to have portrayed that in the trailer would be to show that fight scene there of him fighting absolutely nothing, and then like do a rewind and then replay it with actually seeing this stuff. Because I didn't grasp that you wouldn't see the enemies during the game.
Take the risk.
Trailer.
Take the shot at their dream and make a game that they want to, even if they do feel that they might have some hurdles because they are smaller developers. How would you empower those kind of indie developers? What would you say to them?
So yeah,
work hard.
In my opinion, they should learn how to work together during some jams. There are many. Try to participate to any jams. Then you will see which concept you can work better, which is your reach in terms of cost, time, and production. And then once you have a, let's say, product you want to work with. Well, at this moment, you can start approaching, if needed, a publisher and to support your vision, as you said. So let's say start from very very small things. We did, if I can, we start with our first game, Parasite.
God.
We moved a bit forward in the world of the indie, just because we were known among. We launched the game, so we were able to collaborate with one.
E3's dropped down to 1,000 viewers.
Bigger ambition.
That's awesome. So stick together, baby steps, and you two can make a game inspired by Zatoichi and Strider. That looks pretty awesome.
Thanks.
This is the lowest viewership I've seen on E3.
Super excited to see more of the game and check it out ourselves. Thank you so much.
I think a lot of people didn't know this Play for All showcase thing was actually going to show games,
grab my
though.
samurai sword, do a double backflip, and slice foes in half. With our final interview, we will travel to Japan to the hot springs with our friend Derek Fields, co-founder of Waking Oni Games, to talk about his soon-to-be released game, Onsen Master. But first, some more slick trailers and upcoming releases.
At least when we have to sit through one more interview. Beer brewing simulator. I think there will be some people that really like this, actually. The people that brew beer are super passionate about it.
don't you think? It's time to release the Quacken.
What? I want to experience the adventures of Duckman. I'm not sure how well this game will do, but is this a fever dream?
For someone so small, you need to be taught some respect. So let me enlighten you.
What do you mean? What the duck? What is the Quacken? I need to know, what is the Quacken? Was it just that duck? Flower, did you join the Discord server already, by the way? I know you said you were thinking about it. Is this like Minecraft, but without all of the mining? Looks like a very, like, therapeutic game. Release the Quacken! Oh, here we go. Another farming simulator game. Let's go! This is like... Oh, it's Overcooked, actually. That's big. Overcooked has spawned a genre. Cooking simulator genre. It's so funny because this plays exactly like Overcooked.
At a time where
That's the guy getting a dev interview? Is the Overcooked ripoff?
Derek Fields, founder and director of Working Only
What are the points of these interviews? Talk to the guy who's giving me the Quacken.
Being a cozy game centered on
That's what I want to know.
and bringing
I want... Who is the Quacken?
Own Semester was deeply inspired by a love for family films, especially Ghibli films, and I'm sure saying that out loud for some viewers, they might be able to catch some hints on what keenly influenced a game like Managing a Hot Spring. Spirited Away is a film that's very near and dear to myself, my family, and it's something that brought us together on the couch and in the theaters anytime those were brought to our city. And it stuck around with me, wanting to create a game that could center on those same things. What would it be like to...
Maybe there are more details about the Quacken on the What the Duck page.
Spirits called yokai and the different humans that are also visiting your onsen.
All right. So you mentioned a bunch of inspirations for Onsen Master earlier, and it sounds like it comes from a bunch of different, people and perspectives being involved in the studio and the game. So you've described yourself.
Look at this absolute Chad.
Can you talk a little bit about what that means?
This is a real protagonist.
What impact that has on Onsen Master as you create it?
One of the things that I didn't necessarily have growing up were
Settle in a world where people can summon their spiritual animal.
Black and brown. It was always interacting with a protagonist that didn't necessarily look.
The duck is this guy's spiritual animal. That's amazing.
That are now being represented in media that do have people that look like us, and be a part of that space.
Do you think we're getting better, and do you think it's kind of being led by the indies in the industry?
Yes and yes. I think things are absolutely getting better.
Explore the world as duckling. That's features.
That are including
Duck.
people that look like that look
Perform
like
a duck dash.
Conversation now.
Show the world that nothing is wrong being a duck.
Indie games are championing this inclusion and this representation that needs to be seen across the industry as a whole. And because of that, there are certainly more kind of AAA level games that are including more BIPOC characters, and some very notable.
How have curators already written stuff about this game?
Optimistic me. I don't want that to stop. I want to see more. I want just it to continue happening.
I want to see more of the duck game, less of this fucking Overcooked Simulator ripoff.
Is there ways for us to signal to the broader games industry, maybe even the AAA industry, to be like, hey, we really want this?
Steam might have crashed from the sheer power
do you think that's,
of What the
how
Duck.
Do we do that? Do we just support?
Bro, I think it might have. It's not loading anything else. I think Steam has crashed because of What the Duck. People are raving about the Quacken.
Might be a risk.
Yeah.
Let's fucking go.
When I think of that conversation, there are maybe 2 or 3 components that come to mind. One is the support, that first and foremost, and ensuring that we are uplifting other developers who are building games and narratives that continue to add to the space of including BIPOC characters, and that also extends to LGBTQIA+ characters as well, and individuals within those games.
Is the duck included?
It sends a signal
in
on social media when
LGBT?
you start seeing certain stories being talked about and how impactful they are for the community to see themselves represented. I'm not alone in experiencing Miles Morales Spider-Man and how impactful having that sort of representation through and throughout not only the story but the communities that Miles played in throughout that narrative. And that's an example. When you see resounding feedback from Twitter and so on, it's important. I think for the other component, next to uplifting, is ensuring that we can provide.
Steam is down. The Quacken took it down. The Quacken was too powerful.
Same endeavor, because a lot of the times people who come from these backgrounds,
Only some people
therefore don't have the same
think they can contain the Quacken, but the reality is none of us can.
There is a very real cause and effect. So yeah, supporting games where there are BIPOC, LGBTQIA+ characters is super important. Thank you so much for your time, Derek. I think we could talk about this all day long, but
absolutely,
I'm sure you've got a game about making people manage onsen too, so I'll let you get back to that. But thank you so much.
Yeah, go back to the
Those are just
Overcooked
some of the
Simulator.
Awesome games being created by developers around the world. We had everything from drink cans.
The Quacken will rise, and people will fall.
Town building simulator.
In
It's
2021.
a small selection of the amazing experiences that inclusive indie game developers are making around the world. Before we head off, I just want to give a huge thank you to all the indie developers and the publishers working with them who took the time and effort to create trailers for us and then talk to us. And I also want to thank everyone at GameSpot and The Mix for working so hard over the past few weeks to put this amazing showcase together. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Tam, I mean, it's so many great games and developers that we shared today. Exclusive and inclusive at the same time, which is great. The interviews were amazing. Thank you all for joining us. Thank GameSpot for showcasing these games. It means a lot to the developers. Of course,
This Play for All showcase is pretty cool though. There were several games I wishlisted from it, so very nice. The interviews were pretty boring, but
and we will catch you later. Peace.
Hello, hello. Welcome back to E3 2021. Do you want a chance to win a $100 gift card from DoorDash?
I don't.
Simply tag and follow at DoorDash on Twitter for your chance to win. I want money and DoorDash stuff. Sounds great. Anyway, we just finished watching the GameSpot presentation. Survival horror to cooking soup to brewing beer.
She almost said Cooking Simulator. Everyone's trying very hard not to call that game Cooking Simulator, because I'm sure that lady worked very hard on it. But it's Cooking Simulator, but not as good.
And there were a lot of heavy topics addressed as well. And you're obviously our representative from GameSpot, and you wanted to elaborate on what the main message of the presentation was.
Yeah, first off, I want to give a special shout out to Tamar Hussein, who is one of my best friends at GameSpot. He does incredible work, and I miss him very much, and I can't wait to hang out with him again. He put a lot of effort into making this happen, because when we're having conversations about what we want to do for Play for All, which is our kind of charity drive and showcase for the summer, we wanted to drive, games that are that cover things like mental illness, representation, just people who are able to express themselves, who don't always get the chance to.
Yeah, I can't listen to these guys talk.
That was the objective, and I feel like it was really achieved because Tam is such a great guy, and not just because he's my manager, but he's been a good friend and an inspiration for a very long time. So Tamar, shouts out to you. Thank you, dog. And a special shout out also to Justin Woodward, who's also from Southeast San Diego. Represent. He's the one who runs the mix, and y'all saw him on there. But Tam and Justin really did a great job at representing what we wanted to do with the Play for All showcase. So, yeah.
Michael, you're making me emotional.
I'm getting emotional.
Yeah, I can see you're getting emotional. But talking about getting emotional, I felt like there was such range.
Dude, really hoping to get. I got some HP buffs for my boy Zhong Li.
I was watching Spiral and I wanted to cry just within that 10 seconds.
Dude, he's got the big boy shield. 42k health, gimme.
On my parade and with the little cloud. So I don't know, what was sticking out to you on the chill and crying kind of radar, I guess?
Oh yeah, I mean, well, when we were looking at Spiral, the first thing I said was, I'm like, is this like a game that's gonna make me cry? Is this looking like a To the Moon, since we have like an old man kind of like going through his life, and then we saw the dog appear on screen, and we're like, yep, we're gonna cry. But yeah, Rain on Your Parade looks super cute. You're able to rain quite literally. There was a wedding. You could drop bread onto pigeons. Like, this looks like a funny game, and similar to, as you introed in, we have games like What the Duck, and it's really cool to see
What the Duck!
Games take.
This game reminds me, this Cloud game reminds me of that,
drive really hard on the narrative, so you
the
can
game, the Goose game. What was that?
But I mean,
that's what that game
Michael,
reminds me of, that Goose game.
Representation and everything, and feeling included, and I feel represented when I saw Derpy Conga, because I'm like, oh, okay, so I can grab people's hands with me. I'll grab Jackie, I'll grab Dan, and then attempt to jump over like a cliff or something. And if we make it, or if we go down, regardless, we're doing it together.
Demon, I wanted to pick your
Untitled Goose game. That's why I didn't remember the name, because it's quite literally untitled.
You always talk about how much you appreciate
LOL.
indie games. So I just wanted to talk to you about what this presentation meant to you. I think we just saw such a range, and we heard these developers talking about the struggles that they face and just them trying to get resources. And you've kind of spoken about that before.
Yeah, well, I was super impressed with the lineup that you guys put together.
Thank you.
We're at the end of day 4 of E3, and we just saw a bunch of new games that still look awesome. And from a,
I feel like the only things that were really shown at E3 this year were indie games. All of the like AAA studios didn't have jack or shit to show.
From voices that we haven't necessarily heard enough of in the past in front of gamers, and there are several that I saw today that I was really excited about. First up, El Paso Elsewhere. I think as soon as that game was up, we were all like, well, Max Payne with monsters. Yes. They're even sort of nailing that year 2000 PC third-person shooter look. That one looks really cool. It's got the bullet time and everything. I love Freshly Frosted, because I love cookies and donuts. I think, and that one's all about
Nintendo, Indie, and Guardians of the Galaxy.
Over the conveyor belts, maybe a little choo-choo rock.
Oh, and Monster Hunter. Don't forget Monster Hunter.
Maybe even my wife would play that one because she loves to bake. And then I loved
a lot of Monster Hunter shown at this.
Right? Chinatown Detective Agency.
So, yeah.
Taking a cue from Carmen Sandiego, where in order to solve the mysteries, you're going to have to do some real-world research, and that was yet another.
Are the E3 Game Awards for games shown at E3, or are they for like just games that were actually released?
Dan, I want to talk to you. I think that a lot of these games talked about mental health, and in particular, She Dreams Elsewhere stuck out to me. And
I didn't get anything from the actual trailer about She Dreams Elsewhere that talks about mental health, other than the stuff that that guy talked about.
Wanted people to know that it's okay to not be okay. And I just thought that was such a strong message. And what's so cool about the GameSpot presentation is that we heard so many people talking about mental health. And I feel like these
like, the only part of that game that seemed like to have anything to do about mental health is when the guy said, yeah, this game's about mental health. Everyone was like, okay. If you say so.
And chief among them is She Dreams Elsewhere because, you know, they kind of lure you
The
in.
Chinese Ace Attorney game does have English. That's cool.
Beneath the surface, it doesn't feel necessarily as sort of tongue-in-cheek.
But the page on the Steam page said the English wasn't coming for a while.
I loved sort of the gameplay that we saw there, and I love the message behind it. You know, a lot of people still stigmatize things like going to therapy, talking about mental health, when really
Gameplay put mine to shame. Were you talking about my Genshin gameplay?
Feel better about yourself and just how everything's going. I mean, we went through a global pandemic. Many of us are still going through a global pandemic. There is a lot of residual trauma there, and whether you process that through creating art like video games or talking to friends, talking to loved ones, talking to licensed healthcare professionals, that is definitely something that should be more talked about, more accepted. And if you see someone stigmatizing that in the chat, just like tell that person to go to hell, log off, touch grass. They need to like get their life together. Ideally, they need therapy too, but that might not be the case. But on a more positive note, Super Drink Brothers, a game about getting that aggression out as a can of soda by beating the ever-loving crap out of another can of soda. I really liked that one. Super joyous, super fun, super raucous. Golden Boy and I were kind of geeking out about
that
also, I
soda can fighter thing looked kind of funny.
That is influenced by Studio Ghibli, Spirited Away, and also it looked incredibly relaxing and chill. The same vibe I got from Freshly Frosted. Damon reached into my brain and took all the games I was going to talk about, but thankfully there were so many awesome ones that I can talk about these too. But games like Freshly Frosted, Onsen Master, they look just kind of relaxing, which after the year that we've all had as a society, I think that we could all use a little relaxation with a game like that. So I'm very excited.
This year has been hard.
Okay, I love that.
For gamers,
had, like,
especially.
Such a long list. I was gonna ask you all what your favorites were, but I just think my list had like at least 8 titles on there. So I think we all just thoroughly enjoyed the presentation.
That realistically, we know it's because she doesn't know what any of the
guys,
games
and
were.
I don't even know how to start. I've been going through my brain about how I'm going to exit this, and I really don't know what to say. I've had the honor and pleasure to work with many of you outside of this event, but getting to see all of you again.
You remember the soda guys from Saints Row? That's true.
I mean, I already knew this, but I realized tenfold how awesome all of you are. So
wow,
it's been
thanks.
Awesome. It's been fantastic. You guys are amazing. So I don't know if really quickly you want to do a round robin and just say like, y'all rock to everyone who's watching, or if there's just something you want to say really quick, Damon?
Yeah, no, obviously you all rock. Thank you so much for hanging out with us over the
I can't roll my eyes hard enough. Get to the awards, please.
On behalf of Soup Pot, which was one of my favorite games at the
Let's all stroke each other's ego real quick live on camera.
Thanks for listening to me talk about Lady D and Bayonetta my name's Avli. You can find me at G4 Content.
And,
Dan!
And Dan.
Did you cut off Dan?
Jesus. Couldn't even get everybody in there.
And Dan.
All right. Well, don't worry.
My
We're
God.
Gonna be back here later. We're gonna bring.
I will
back
never
on
watch
stage
anything
later, but this is
G4
basically our
related.
last segment, talking about games and reacting together. But we still have so much left, so do not go anywhere. Make sure you're sticking around, because still ahead, it's our E3 awards. Which games were the most anticipated from our studios? Stick around and find out. It's E3 2020.
Oh, so it is just the anticipated awards.
So Def Jam hit me up to be in the game. Give me some muscles or something. What would be the name of my super move? Auto Bruise? That's pretty bad. Rapper turned banger? These are getting worse.
Good Lord, man.
The Precious Stones. The Precious Stones. That's what it is. Big ass chain comes off. Pow! Right across the face. It's over. Precious Stones. Boom! Look at that. Precious Stones.
Who let these people get in front of a camera? I thought I was bad.
Innovation. It's happening all around us. We don't know what tomorrow will bring, but we know our broadband network will be ready. Because we're building it right now. It's more reliable, more secure, and 10 times faster than today.
Do I get some of the ad revenue for all the ads that have been playing on my stream?
We're ready for
Is that my favorite gamer Twitch streamer, T-Pain? You know it, baby. The biggest gamer, T-Pain. Oh, Norton! Come on. How much more power is it? How much more power do we need?
More power.
There we go. We need more power. I needed to know. Come get more of your fucking Norton subscription, baby. Oh, IGN's gonna talk about E3, ladies and gentlemen. It might be over, but IGN will be talking about it for the next fucking 2 weeks. Because they are a shitty gaming site. And they're gonna milk all this shit for as long as they can. Let's go.
IGN Summer of Gaming begins right now.
Actually ends right now.
Hello, and welcome back to E3 2021. Video games are for everyone, and gamers come from all walks of life.
There it is.
It would seem obvious that the characters
Gamers.
and heroes we play in these virtual
Unite
realities
us.
represent that diversity. But the hard truth is, it hasn't always been this way. So we turn to the voices of E3 to discuss Black representation in the games we love.
Hello, I'm Amber. I am a moderator for E3's Black Representation in Gaming panel.
When is the Game Show Awards? I thought it was like now.
J.Ann Lopez,
Is that not happening?
Tanya DePass,
what the
and
fuck?
Fiona Nova. We're going to be talking about
Just got launched
creating
into the
better
sky.
representation in the gaming space. First, if we could do like a quick, brief intro of everybody, starting with J.Ann.
My name's J.Ann Lopez. I'm the founder and CEO of Black Girl Gamers, which is a community-focused platform started about 6 years ago.
It's supposed to start
It is
now.
the largest platform of Black women gamers in the space globally. We are a space that do workshop events. We change the narratives in gaming when it comes to representation in the past and the present and future. We also discuss the workforce, and we also do talent brokering as well. So an area that I've moved into is talent brokering of Black women content creators to work with brands.
How you guys doing? Zach TTG. First.
Oh, 100 Thieves! Represent!
YouTuber and streamer. I'm part of a group called 2Hype. And we recently just joined 100 Thieves.
Oh my god, 100 Thieves. Still ever present.
But yeah, I just make sports content. I stream sports games, make sports videos, play sports. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Hey everyone, I'm Fiona Nova. I am a comedy online content creator. I work
God.
at
What a title.
Achievement Hunter, Rooster Teeth, as well as a creative producer at G4.
Hey, I'm Tanya. What I do is I founded and run I Need Diverse Games, which is a not-for-profit aiming to get more people in the industry.
I will never, for as long as I stream, I'm never going to call myself a comedy content creator.
And content creator, and I also do a lot of RPG work.
I'm a streamer,
Motherlands,
I guess. I mean, this isn't even my real job. I stream as a hobby for fun.
Stream and soon-to-be setting book. And I do a whole lot both in the
But
RPG
even if I,
and
like,
games
ever
space.
miraculously become successful enough on YouTube to just do YouTube, I would not call myself a comedy content creator.
About why it's important for games where players create their own characters to have better representation.
Because a character creator can't be, you know, like the 5 different shades of beige that we all get, the nondescript brown that nobody really is in real life. You know, we all come in different shades. It'd be great if if any one of us on this panel could create a real facsimile of ourselves in these character creators. And some games are doing better with skin tone, but a lot of games are still falling behind when it comes to hair. You know, I can't think of many games where I can actually have my hair, which is locks, and they're
What's up,
look
Revan?
like yarn or steel wool. And you know, the overall thing before anybody else jumps in is that gaming is global, and they need to realize that it's not just 18 and 35-year-old white dudes playing and buying these games and making these games. So if you're not thinking about the people sitting there with a controller in their hand at the keyboard, you're not thinking about your audience, and my money's just as green as anybody else's. So it's a clear sign you don't actually want my money if you don't think I belong in the game worlds you're creating.
Basically, everything that Tanya said, and also to add on to the kind of hair and skin tone is the facial features. A lot of the time when you're playing like a custom character creator in a game, the character will be black but have very European focused features, so it looks like the character's in blackface, and it's not a nice experience for you to have when you're playing the game. I was literally playing a game yesterday where I created my own character, and I literally just disengaged because I was like, I don't like this character, she doesn't really represent me, and she looks weird and the hair is weird and it just feels off. And that's a game that's recently just come out, so
maybe it is just because I'm white, but I never ever take game like customization seriously.
In the game. And
I feel like I almost immediately just default to the like the main character, or I play someone that looks nothing like me. Like, I feel like in most games, if I can choose between male or female, I usually pick female characters.
Then it's just like, what's the point, essentially?
Not to spark a debate or anything.
It's hard for me to find my skin tone because it's either like white or black, and I'm both of those. So there's nothing in the middle. The hair, like it's hard to find hair. Like you could be maybe a black skin color character, but your hair is like short and straight. Like that's
what's up, Heroine?
You don't really look like that. It's hard to find exactly what it is, and I think if you can have like this RGB spectrum of T-shirts, like why can't you have that for skin colors? I feel like the coding is it's not hard.
Yeah.
I understand coding. I know you can do it. It's just a lot of studios don't think about that when they're creating the game.
I know that we touched on it a little bit, but could we talk about what better representation looks like in video games?
Looks like us.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And not just us as well, because
Just so many
if you look on the exactly,
I've
if you look on
also-
the spectrum, we are on the light and
I don't
bright,
know.
and it's
I've never
essential
looked
to
at a
represent
game
different shades, especially
and
in
like
the gaming industry.
been
And I
if
think,
the protagonist wasn't a white male,
it-
been
it's
like,
key
I'm not
to
playing this game.
understand that representation has to be authentic and it has to be accurate.
Now, don't get me wrong,
Because
representation
black
is
character
important,
and,
but like,
you know, if you think it's gonna work, it's not always gonna work, because
I don't
at
know.
the end of the day,
I've never
as
not played a game that
people
looks
know,
fun
black
to
people,
play
we're
because
gonna
the
notice
protagonist
straight away,
wasn't a
well,
white dude.
That's not right. Like, that looks odd. I know Tanya does it a lot. I do it a lot, and we just like, who's in the team, because we can immediately tell. So I think it needs to also, the representation on screen is a reflection of, sometimes, a lot of the time, a reflection of who's working on the game.
Absolutely. That's literally what I was getting ready to say. Is you can tell some of the games, like there's no black people working on these games. There's no people of color. There's no Hispanic people working on the games, because none of the characters look anything like those types of people at all. And I see that some games try, some studios try, but like you said, like when we get a hold of that game, we can see right through it. Like I appreciate
Genshin
the
Impact
effort.
Minecraft gameplay, yes.
but I also think it's so easy to just
Still feeling the
hire
effects of the shot, Heroine?
a black person to come in and help y'all out. Like, I just think
Yeah,
I think it's something that's super easy to fix.
Bouncing off of what we've been talking about so far is, for better or for worse, there has been a big uptick, possibly for, as you guys said, optics. So
are the Game Awards not
two,
happening?
phases to this question. One, what can the game industry itself do to help that momentum and keep Black people in the public eye, keep our voices elevated? And two, what can we as a community do to help with that momentum?
I would say, I think the key word here is longevity and consistency. I think when it comes to programs, make sure they are on an
I wonder what the chat is saying. Oh lord, let's take a peek. Let's take a peek real quick.
creators on an annual basis, so that they can continuously have that visibility, or either or do the work that needs to be done. That, I think that's the key thing. Again, like I mentioned before, a lot of companies will dip their toe, support, and then leave.
Oh no! Oh no! The chat is
consistency, and I think also the problem is that a lot of game companies, because of the makeup of this industry, they've created this imaginary racial equal race haven that we don't actually have, and so no one really understands how to discuss race and representation critically and well. I think there's a lot of surface level discussion that continues, that we should be past long time ago. There should be some intake programs for companies on an annual basis that should be normal. That should be normal. We shouldn't be celebrating it anymore. That should be a normal thing that should be happening. But again, because we're so late in the game,
I'll say this. I said this earlier too. These are important discussions, but I'm not really quite sure if E3 is the place to be having these discussions.
Hurry up.
Yeah.
Sorry, basically.
The other thing that happens, this panel notwithstanding, anytime or most of the time when I'm asked to do stuff, it's a diversity panel. It sucks to be brown in the industry. I have a UX degree. I've been streaming for 7 years. I'm creating RPGs. I've been doing.
Hey, I've also been streaming for like 7
anytime
years.
I get reached out to, it's like, oh, can you come and talk about diversity? And yes, that is part of my job, but that's not the only thing I ever want to talk about. I want to sit and chill with people about Street Fighter V strats. I want to talk about, I suck at Bloodborne. I need to get better. How can people help me with that? There are things that we can all talk about that do not involve the trauma of being Black in these spaces. And it's trauma. It's not just, oh, somebody was mean to me today, blah, blah, blah. Some days it's legit traumatic to still be on the internet as a Black person, let alone show your face, anything else. And just give people the resources, give us the space to grow and not make it an after school special. Oh, look, here's this one spot for the brown kids, go. And then give us one laptop, one coding course, and
what's that? I'm saying.
Succeed. Give us mentorship. Give us these other things. And by give, I mean, you still got to apply. You still got to meet the standard. But a lot of times when I've done programs, I'm one of 2 or 3 Black people. Or I'm the only brown person in the room. The only woman in the room or non-man in the room. The only outwardly queer person. And sometimes they'll use that. We got all 3 in one person. Let's go.
They do that with me. Yep. And they also use that, and I also can see it where they'll use me instead of like a dark-skinned Black woman because I can pass, right?
It's true.
And it's true.
Acceptable.
You're more acceptable. Yeah, I am.
I get the same thing.
You get the same thing. You're light-skinned. But you're Black.
But I'm still
you're
Black.
gay. Yeah. Like, oh, you're gay. You have like all 3. It checks out, or whatever. It's like it's like a checklist.
Yeah.
And it's disgusting, really, and it's very frustrating because I can see it. I know.
Yeah, and I think that us as creators and other Black content creators, I think when we do get these opportunities to say something, we need to speak up and we need to be ourselves. If you get an opportunity to host, you got to put on. You know what I'm saying? You don't conform to what they want you to be. Be yourself. Represent yourself.
AM2R speedrun win. Isn't that game hasn't it been taken down?
Keep being loud until they hear us. That's who you are. If you're a loud person, you're a loud person. It doesn't matter if you're Black or white. Just be yourself, because there's other people out there that look like you or that feel like you or talk like you. They want to be represented. So we have to do our part to represent them, because we would want that ourselves if we were in their shoes looking up.
Yeah, because I mean, I even said today on Twitter, we're doing this. I know for a fact if I wasn't light, I wouldn't be where I'm at, because nobody would listen to me as a dark-skinned woman. Nobody.
This is sad truth, unfortunate. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like, oh no, you're, smart, you know yourself. I'm like, but if I was darker, that I would immediately be dismissed. Let's just be real.
That is all the time that we have for this panel. I want to thank all of you for making time to come here.
Is it time for the Game Awards now?
Very illuminating and very salient. I wanted to go ahead and thank my 4 guests one more time: Jan Lopez, Zach TTG, Fiona, and Tanya DePass. Thank you for tuning in to E3 2021, and we will see you soon.
As E3 2021 comes to a close, we want to take the time to honor the developers' hard work and the oohs and ahs they gave us over the last 4 days. Voted on by representatives from our media partners, IGN, IGN China, PC Gamer, GameSpot, GamesRadar, and Game Bonfire, we have selected
What the quack, best upcoming indie
that were announced by each developer or publisher, as well as the most anticipated game overall announced all week long. To be eligible for an individual award, developer, publisher, or studio had to showcase more than one game, and we will even honor the best presentation of this year's Expo. So with that, drum roll please, Golden Boy. We present to you the 2021 E3 Awards. All right, starting with our first developer, Ubisoft. The award for most anticipated Ubisoft game goes to...
They're doing specific awards
Sparks of Hope.
for developers? Most anticipated Ubisoft game? Oh my god, how much do they pay for that one? Is that what these awards are?
Sure, no, I love Mario Rabbids, so another one I'm all about, yeah.
First game was fantastic. No shocker here. This is
Oh my god.
So let's move on then. Gearbox Software closed us out on Saturday's preview night, and the award for most anticipated game from their presentation goes to Tiny Tina's Wonderland.
The most anticipated Gearbox game. Oh my god. Thank you for being at our presentation. We're gonna give you an award.
Right? Still just getting that sizzle teaser. It's like, okay, let's a little bit.
How was Rabbids winning? Well, let me know another Ubisoft game that you know of coming out this year. Or that was at E3, Cook.
Ashley Burke.
Andy,
Put some respect on the name, all right?
I was
Ashley Burke.
thinking, I don't know why I just said Adam.
I think you're thinking Sandler.
I did, thank
Andy
you. I was
Samberg
like,
will be really mad
what?
about that. So
Sorry,
Somebody put this out, send it to Andy
Sorry.
Samberg. So
send it to Andy's people.
Next up for discussion is Xbox and Bethesda, and the award for most anticipated
Starfield! Oh my god!
For Bethesda is Golden Boy.
Halo Infinite.
Alright.
Yes.
I'm just happy that they didn't say.
Can you really? I mean, don't get me wrong.
No.
They didn't say Starfield. Because at least Halo Infinite showed gameplay.
This one, well, obviously for it being Halo, but for the future of the franchise, it looks really good. They did a great passover.
The future of the franchise is dependent on the performance of Halo Infinite. If this game fucking bombs, Halo will be done.
A whole bunch of new features like bots that are going to be coming to the game, which is great for players that maybe are a little too intimidated to play against actual players, that they could, go in there, learn the ropes, get in, play some Halo against their friends. It's awesome. I'm so excited for Halo Infinite.
All right. Square Enix.
They did show in the Infinite gameplay reveal stuff that they showed. There was actually a lot of cool stuff for Halo Infinite.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yay, you're all smiles.
I am all smiles. A shoe in again. I lost Montreal coming out. This is what we've been talking about all week long.
Halo will get a reboot. Infinite is the reboot. We're already at the reboot part, gamer.
Talented studio. Deus Ex, a game franchise, and especially there too, that has cemented them to so many fans as an amazing.
Because Halo Infinite is very subtly dropping a lot of the plot lines started from Halo 5.
Putting Marvel in front of that, I think, is really.
I guess it's not too subtle, but they're kind of just going with the story.
Such a great presentation too. I mean, we got such an inside look at the game and saw the mechanics and just how the characters look and the funny lines delivered. So I'm excited for that one.
Of course.
Yep.
The PC gaming show was a lot of fun and brought us so many looks at an array of cool games on the horizon. But the award for most anticipated game of their presentation goes to Songs of Conquest.
Okay, interesting one.
Well, it won't become as bad as Metroid, Lucy, because the difference is Microsoft pretty much only has Halo. Whereas Nintendo can go, alright, we're not making any more Metroid games. And then Nintendo still has a whole bunch of...
Yeah, exactly, but this is Stain, I believe, a great group. This is going to be a game to look out for, undoubtedly. Looks fantastic.
Like, Nintendo can shelve that IP and still have dozens more to work with, but Microsoft really can't shelve Halo, because what other IPs does Microsoft have?
Yes.
Here for it.
I mean, I guess she's here for it. Let's go. But I mean, I guess they bought Bethesda, so now they have a couple more IPs, but still.
Done with a list of titles to catch our eyes, and the award for most anticipated game goes to Immortality. Don't read ahead. Don't read ahead.
Sorry, I cheated.
You don't ooh before I say what it is.
This is a very ominous teaser.
This didn't even have gameplay. This Immortality thing.
You're about to see behind us. So
God, it literally just showed some posters in a text box.
It was just the mystery of this one. So I definitely want to see more.
Sure. Well, I mean, coming off the success of Telling Lies, right? A game that relies on video footage, right? Getting into it. Her story, the game before that really established this from Sam, right? Going in, what's the story? You being the detective, figuring it all out, immediately shot to the top of my list as well.
Yeah.
Okay, I won't cheat anymore.
Thank you. Don't. And Golden Boy, don't you either. All right?
Promise.
And Television knocked our socks off with a family-friendly...
I can't believe the awards are actually just them talking about the most anticipated game from each presentation.
Simple, baby.
I mean, I guess I don't know what I was thinking. I guess I don't know what I was thinking was going to happen. Holy shit, bro.
This is all about how the controllers work and getting everybody together to.
This is easily one of the worst E3s, and this is also the first E3 that I've actually actively streamed every conference for.
We're all right.
That's a real award.
Holy crap.
Indies, there are so many great indie titles to choose from, and they all show us that there's really no gap between small games and AAA games in 2021. The award for most anticipated indie game goes to Falling Frontier.
Oh, yeah.
This one got you too? This is on your radar?
Yeah, this one looked really good. I mean, well, for one, anything with a space, angle to it is always going to be a winner for me. And I believe this is the one that was like more of that strategic.
All right. I mean, I guess we'll sit through the rest of this at this point, but.
And again, the Indie Game Showcase was very competitive as well.
Yeah.
Lots of great games shown.
I want to end the stream now, but I won't. I mean, we've come this far, right? We might as well at least make it through. But good God, what a horrible E3 this was.
Competitive space for sure. Speaking of competitive, Greg Way, Freedom Games established themselves again as a dev that makes family-friendly games that are fun. And the most anticipated one from their announcement goes to Airborne Kingdom. This is the first one I will argue about.
Okay.
What? Who did the dog
I
shit?
was like, aw.
Come on. It's a great game. I'm not knocking it.
awesome.
To the rescue.
Really
no love
good.
for To the
Freedom
you-
Games.
Cafe manager.
Exactly.
So
too many good games.
There was
Too many good games.
For me, and I think for all of us, and even for our media friends, I think Freedom Games was like a star of the show for us. So many great games from that group, and I'm so excited to see what they're going to be bringing in the future. Because now that they're on the map, I'm sure more people are going to be paying attention.
100%, yeah, and I think their presentation was so good at putting developers as people front and center.
Yeah.
This is who we are. We're a small team. This is what we're doing.
Goes to
and why
show
we're
how
doing it.
passionate we are that we were like, there's so many games,
True.
so it was awesome.
Good job,
Showing their
Freedom
story
Games.
to create the story.
Man, I can't even complain about these awards. They're just so
No
boring.
stranger to anticipated games in their library, and after Monday's presentation,
Why would you give
most anticipated
Capcom an
games,
award for their
great
shitty
attorneys.
conference?
Two great Japanese Phoenix Wright
I
games
thought your
coming here.
Monstie was gonna get this
You know,
one. I
I
ain't
thought
gonna
the
lie.
Monstie would too, but I
was
think-
ready to say Monstie stories too as well.
I'm glad
Monstie,
we're getting
start
it in
the
here.
hashtag.
Monsties. I did.
This game
I
looks
did.
great though. I can't
Of course
take it away.
does. Are you kidding me? Yeah. I mean, Phoenix Wright already has such a passionate audience. To finally get these games over from Japan, to go back in time, see the lineage of it, be in merry old England. Oi, governor. I mean, come on.
Yeah, and Herlock Sholmes.
Yes, exactly.
Best name ever. So that's a winner.
Love it,
That's a winner.
Good job, Capcom. Now,
Thank you.
Nintendo opened up the final day today, dropping a few gems. but
Better be
the
Metroid
award
Dread.
For most anticipated announcement.
That was it,
had
Good
to go
Hunter.
to Breath of the Wild 2. Come on, let's
No!
see Breath of the Wild 2.
Easy, yeah.
I'll argue this one, man. Metroid was great.
Oh, Golden Boy is a fucking cultured
I'm
man.
just excited for Metroid. Sorry, don't mind me.
Are you excited
Hell
for Breath of the
yeah.
Wild 2, though?
Yes, yes.
I like this dude.
Nintendo showed a lot of awesome stuff.
Fuck yeah, it should have been
Breath of the
Metroid.
Wild 2, though, we were hoping we were going to get it. We got a lot more than what I was anticipating.
Me too.
And this is going to be a special one.
Yeah, of course, targeting 2022. I love how honest they're being of like, we're targeting 2022. Like, there's a lot that goes into this game.
This isn't even coming out till next year. Let Breath of the Wild get awards next year.
A global pandemic. So,
Metroid Dread.
getting any games, let alone
The game of the show, baby.
They'll be transparent about it, let alone the rest of their lineup, including Advance Wars. Don't forget.
Oh my goodness, Advance. I just want to get my hand on that flamethrower gauntlet thingy.
Metroid Dread
You know.
stole the show.
And the
A little concerned. This is my friend.
We got to see some great things from Eureka Studio. The award for most anticipated game from them is Loop Mancer.
Yes.
This actually did look pretty
This one
cool.
came out of the gate fast, and I think a lot of people were just like, visually stunning. Yeah. Side scroller, got a lot of action in there. I'm keeping this one on my radar for sure.
This trailer just hit all the check marks. Like you said, animation, the music, protagonist looks amazing. Look
Production
at this
value.
villain.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, 100%. So not surprised by that at all.
Yeah.
Someone find me Metroid Dread Collector's Edition. I'm gonna fucking get it. I can't believe it's already sold out. Fucking Nintendo pocketed like 10 of
This
them.
award a very difficult one to choose, but someone had to, and our panel voted. The best presentation of E3 this year was Xbox and Bethesda's showcase.
Without a doubt.
Pedal to the
Without
metal
a
from the
doubt, yeah.
start. It's all gas. It's Todd Howard. It's Starfield, all the way through to Arcane and saying, "Hey, bite me." You know what I mean? And in between a million different games, what was it? It was more than 30 games with 27 of them coming to Game Pass. I might be getting the numbers wrong.
Ridiculous.
But
All right.
overwhelming majority.
Best conference of the show, Xbox and
I just wanted to
Bethesda.
point out that there was a lot of predictions going into this. I had thought that we were going to get Halo Infinite first, get that out of the way, and then we'll close out with Starfield. That's what I was hoping. Yeah. But the fact that Xbox was like, nope, Bethesda, you're going to open and close the show. You're going to give us all the good stuff. Like, I really feel good about this, the future here for Bethesda as a huge Bethesda fan. And yeah, man, this was a great showing. Lots of great games.
I was
What are you
gonna
talking
comment on
about,
the
Hunter?
structure as well. I just thought when they started with Starfield, I was like, ooh, okay.
I told you. You asked what
you know?
what
And
else
then
they
they had
mentioned
Halo
for
Infinite in the
Capcom,
middle,
but
and it was just
Capcom mentioned nothing
perfection,
else.
everything that I wanted.
I
And
told
then
you.
wrapping
The
it
Capcom
up
presentation
with
was awful.
vampires. I was just like, okay, they nailed it for me. So yeah.
And to put a bow on it, leading into it, they talked about there will be a clear delineation between Xbox and Bethesda, which I for sure thought it was going to be whatever, half Xbox, and then now let's turn it to our friends at Bethesda.
Could have been easily like
And
that.
instead, they delineated by saying, hey, I'm Todd Howard from Bethesda. Hey, I'm Pete Hines from Bethesda. Hey, I'm Phil from Xbox. And they shook it up that way so you knew what you were getting and how this whole ecosystem was going to work.
I'm actually kind of shocked that they didn't just say that they were from Microsoft now. I'm shocked that they could still say
as much as I wanted. I didn't
Xbox.
feel like, oh, I want more. Whoa, okay, I'm getting a waterfall of info here, so props to y'all.
Great stuff. But there can be only winner for the most anticipated game overall.
Only
Tough
winner.
decision, I'm sure, amongst our media panel.
Only
but they
winner.
decided to give the most anticipated game of 2021 to I was going to see what they wanted. It's Forza Horizon. Forza Horizon 5
Wow.
won most anticipated game overall.
Wow.
Shocking. Shocking. Not because Forza's not a great game.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But I would have, if you would have asked me, I'm going to say it's going to be Halo or it's going to be Breath of the Wild.
too.
And you assume you get into one of the classic situations at an E3, right? Where the votes got broken. Where it was that a whole bunch of people went for Breath of the Wild and a whole bunch of people went the other direction for Halo or for whatever. And here you go.
Well, also, too, this is 2021, so perhaps the panel was also looking at.
Yeah, those fucking rocks from Forza.
A winner. Every
Let's
Forza
go.
game has been brilliant. So this is not a shocker to me.
Game of the year. Did you see those rocks?
Speaking as well, ridiculous. Like the whole time we're like, is that a picture or no? That's the game, and they knew it, and they kept doing it, and it worked every single time. Brilliant.
Yeah.
I think I was telling Golden Boy earlier that I'm a very awful driver, and so I love games like this because then I can just
Let's
drive these
go.
beautiful landscapes and incredibly expensive cars and not damage anything.
Yeah, of course. It doesn't cost you anything. That's the best part.
I love these racing games.
Remind me never to get in car with Jackie.
I know,
Exactly. Stay away from riding with Jackie,
That was a
ladies and
shocking winner,
gentlemen.
though.
It was, but one of the reasons I think it's shocking, but one of the reasons it's really cool is what you said, right? Is that year in, year out, Forza Horizon is great. It's amazing, right? Yeah. And so usually when you have something like that, what happens?
Nobody
You take it
cares.
for granted. Oh, that's going to be awesome no matter what. I'm excited by the bells and whistles. I'm excited for the brand new.
I will say that Forza Horizon, like their mini game creator mode, actually did look really fun.
That's it for this year's coverage of E3.
I did think that was pretty
To
cool.
our friends at Binge and iHeartRadio, the #1 podcasting platform in the United States. Of course, thank you to our entire media crew, the team at IGN, and all the developers over the last 4 days. I will leave you with one final message. We will see you all back here in person, live from Los Angeles in 2022. Thank you, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Man, I'm craving for a new Forza. Man, what a... Yikes. That was a game. We here for that. You're right, guy. We are here for that. What a montage. Alright, that's gonna be the end of the stream for today, now that E3 is done. Thanks for watching along with me today. It has been an adventure, that's for sure. I definitely wouldn't have been able to watch this without you guys in the chat talking with me. This is not something I would have been able to sit through by myself, but thanks everyone for watching. This was, now I'll still do all of them again, guy, next year. Sometimes the cringe is good. But yeah. That's the end. Mercifully, E3 is over now. It is finally over. But stay tuned, I got a bunch of games to stream coming up soon. Some of these games that were mentioned here today that actually did look pretty cool, you can expect to see me streaming, like that Metroid Dread, a couple other cool ones. I'll stream the new Danganronpa game. A couple new stream ideas definitely got mentioned here at E3 today, despite how awful it was. Some of the stuff was kind of cool, so stay tuned for some of those playthroughs on my channel. If you don't want to miss out on those, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell button so that way you don't miss out on those future streams. And you can stay tuned. Drop a like on the stream if you could as well. Help boost it in the YouTube algorithm despite the copyright strikes I'm sure I'm going to get on this one. But yeah, if you want to keep chatting with people even after the stream is over, we can talk about how E3 went, your favorites, your most anticipated, all that good stuff in the Discord. Link to that is in the description below if you want to come and chat and hang out with us. Let me know what you guys thought of E3 in the Discord. And also, Blanco's Block Party, most importantly. Game of the year for me, personally, was Blanco's Block Party. I can't wait for that. And then last but not least, actually, yeah, that's it. I guess you can become a member to help support the channel. If you want to hit that join button, that always helps. But, yeah, that's it. Talk to you guys later in the Discord. And see you guys next week for streams. Have a good night, everyone.